All right, good afternoon. I will now reconvene the City Council meeting of Monday, March 2nd, 2026. Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Council President. Councilmember Campbell?
Here.
Councilmember Whitburn?
Here.
Councilmember Foster? Councilmember Von Wilper? Council President Pro Tem Lee?
Here.
Councilmember Campillo? Councilmember Moreno?
Present.
Councilmember Elo Rivera? And Council President LaCava.
Present.
Also attending the meeting are Assistant City Attorney Michelle Garland, Independent Budget Analyst Charles Modica, Advisor in the Mayor's Office, Mr. Wild, and myself, your City Clerk, Deanna Fuentes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam City Clerk. Quorum is now present, so we'll start off first by asking if there's any comments from the Mayor's Office, from City Council members, City Attorney, Independent Budget Analyst, or the City Clerk. And we see the City Clerk has comments.
I just wanted to give a quick update that we are going to be ending our community engagement survey at the end of this week. There is a QR code during our slides that go up and on my website, www.sandiego.gov/cityclerk. On the front web page there, we encourage everyone to participate and please give us feedback on how we can better support public engagement in City Council meetings. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk, and thank you for going for that extra effort to get that public input. So with that, please go over how the public can offer their testimony.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to highlight the slide that was on the screen a minute ago, but the screen that reviews how the public can offer their public testimony during this afternoon's meeting. You can go and get the website link at www.sandiego.gov/cityclerk. On our agenda, it is there at the front. If you'd like to participate via Zoom, it's www.sandiego.gov/ccmtg. It's back up on the screen now, as well as the webinar ID information. If you are in person, please complete a speaker slip located at the entrance of chambers and bring it to the front of the room in the clear box. There's also council ambassadors that are available near the entrance of chambers and can assist with questions and speaker slips. If you are participating remotely, press *9 or the raise your hand icon, and no further in-person testimony will be taken once the council begins virtual testimony. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you. And with that, please introduce item 200.
Item 200 is an informational item. It is the annual update from the San Diego City Port Commissioners. If you'd like to speak on this item, now is the time to submit your speaker slip to the front of the room into the clear box, or if you are participating remotely, come on in. If you are participating remotely, please be sure to raise your hand by pressing *9 or the raise your hand icon. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you. Well, welcome to our chambers this time, and these are our port commissioners, or the commissioners representing the city of San Diego, Please introduce yourselves for the record and let us know how much time you need for your presentation.
Good afternoon, Council President. 15 minutes, please.
All right, when you're ready.
Go ahead.
Next slide.
Oh, no, sorry, I apologize.
I know you're very excited. It's first time.
Good afternoon, Council President, members of the City Council. I'm Michael Zucat. I'm the Vice Chair of the Board of Port Commissioners, joined by Commissioner Sid Varakara and Commissioner Danielle Moore. We are your 3 San Diego appointees. We're going to give you a brief update on a number of items today, broken down into 3 categories: parks and open space, economic development, and we're going to tell you about some exciting events coming through our Tidelands Activation Program. Next slide, please.
No.
Oh, very good. So beginning with parks and open space, we're going to begin with what will be the largest veterans park on the West Coast, Freedom Park at Burnham Navy Pier. If you look at the rendering there, that's Navy Pier on the left side of this photograph. And the park will begin at that eastern edge of the pier, wrap all the way around the midway over to the G Street Mole on the other side, and 10 acres in all. So this is a very substantial park that is under construction today. The port demolished last year that head house, warehouse-looking structure at the base of the pier. It's nearing completion of the underwater reinforcements and engineering that's going on. The Midway Museum, our partners in this effort, continue their fundraising for their construction, and we're excited that completion is scheduled to be in time for Veterans Day 2028. Next slide, please. Moving on to Cesar Chavez Park improvements. This is a project that is in a more preliminary design phase. We're working closely with Councilmember Moreno, the Barrio Logan Community Planning Group, Chicano Park Steering Committee. We've had a few public workshops and pop-up events trying to come up with a collaborative design and a plan to make these improvements. At the moment, we're talking about a splash pad, we're talking about more lawn space for picnics and gatherings, a perched beach sort of above the water, Aztec-inspired hardscape, shade structures, and other amenities. Although this is in preliminary design, the good news is this project is basically already funded through something at the port called the Balanced Capital Program, which is something where each member city's commissioners sort of guide some public money, and this is the choice of the three commissioners before you in terms of San Diego, and so this project is largely funded. Construction, we're hoping, is fall of 2027, completed in the spring of 2028. Next slide, please. Another 10-acre park, currently, next slide, please. Coming up for East Harbor Island. This is the part of East Harbor Island that you probably haven't been to before unless you made a wrong turn. This is the part that is right by Harbor Island Drive. It's currently parking lots for overflow rental cars and construction areas for the airport right now. It's going to be the future site for Topgolf, which my colleague's going to talk about in a second, but we're talking about that, what do you call that, teal, aquamarine around it. That's a 10-acre park, all on the waterfront. There's also a proposal for about a 6.5-acre entertainment and restaurant district in this area. The part of Harbor Island that most people are familiar with is that bottom of the photograph part with the restaurants and the hotels. This is right now literally a walled-off sort of industrial section of East Harbor Island, and this entire development and park space will be transformative. Next slide, please. Finally, at least for my part of this presentation, I want to update you on the Maritime Clean Air Strategy, something the port adopted in 2021. The purpose of it was, and the goal of it was health equity for all. Basically, what can we as a port do more to improve on the lives of the port communities who surround the operations of the port? And one of the goals of the strategy was to put our goals, make them aggressive and put them in writing, and hope to generate federal and state money to help fund those activities. And I think it's fair to say that even our most optimistic hopes were far exceeded. To date, we've raised sort of $250 million in the last 5 years to fund electric cranes, almost completely electrify the 10th Avenue Marine Terminal. By the way, all that electric equipment is the electricity from it comes from a solar-powered microgrid at the 10th Avenue Marine Terminal, which also saves money and reduces further emissions. So, very grateful to the work of our staff at the port, especially Job Nelson, who you already know, and his team, who have really gone above and beyond in securing this money. And the result of those investments were demonstrated in our emissions inventory, which was just published. And it showed that in a 5-year period, we had a 30% decrease in nitrogen oxides and a 46% decrease in diesel particulate matter emissions from port-related activities in just a 5-year period. And so we're pretty excited about that. Just at our last board meeting, we approved our Clean Cargo Port Grant with EPA, which did come through. We have a couple of partners on that. Dole, our main tenant at the 10th Avenue Marine Terminal, and Paisha Automotive, who runs the terminal down in National City. Also in that grant, we've got funded a workforce development staff member who's gonna help promote clean tech careers. And so we're excited about these results and look forward to continuing the progress. Moving on, Commissioner Varakara.
Good afternoon, Sid Varakara for the record. Happy to be here. I also want to acknowledge, as Commissioner Zucchett mentioned, Job Nelson, Scott Chadwick, and Ron Powell. I think they need no introduction from all of you who have joined us today as well. I'm going to share 3 projects all under environmental review at this point in time, but as you'll see, we see the end of the tunnel, or the light at the end of the tunnel, on all 3 of them. Starting with Seaport San Diego. It is our most ambitious project in its planning stages. I know you are all familiar with it. This mixed-use project proposes free public uses and commercial ventures, including plazas, parks, promenades, piers, marinas, hotels, retail and restaurants, commercial fishing uses, multiple visitor attractions, and urban beach and educational uses as well. It would unfold on about 39 acres of land and 63 acres of water. That includes parts of Seaport Village, Tuna Harbor, Embarcadero Marina Park North, and Ruckel Park. So as I said, it's under environmental review, and we actually anticipate the completion of that review later this year. Next slide, please. The second project I want to share is 1220 Pacific Highway. So after completing a deal with the U.S. Navy to acquire its leasehold, the port staff is preparing to present a proposed use for the site at our March 10th Board of Port Commissioners meeting. And we're actually considering a proposal that promises to bring in a new public attraction to the area next to the Intercontinental Hotel along the Embarcadero. So I think all 3 of us are excited to see a development plan that transforms what has been an unusable 3.4 acre cluster of Navy office buildings since 1949 into an activated space for our community. Next slide, please. Vice Chair Zucchett also talked a little bit about East Harbor Drive, or East Harbor Island, excuse me, and the park. This is part of our activation program with Topgolf. So this proposed project sits on 10 acres, again, also occupied currently by rental car companies. It's also under environmental review, and we're expecting an EIR to be circulated for public study and comment this fall. Once it is, the EIR is certified by the board of Port Commissioners, it will be submitted to the California Coastal Commission for review, and that's a crucial step that would allow construction to begin. Topgolf promises to serve as a magnet that we think will attract the public and provides a jolt of energy to East Harbor Drive. Between the planning phases of East Harbor Island Park and Promenade and Topgolf, we, the 3 of us, are in particular looking to see how we could reimagine this space that, as Vice Chair Zucchett mentioned, has been just not usable for the public and our community. Next slide. And finally, for me, in my portion of this presentation, our cruise industry. So the port is experiencing a rebound in its cruise ship business. We had 107 cruise ship calls with 389,000 passengers this season. So as just to give a comparison, in the 2024-2025 cruise season, we recorded 75 cruise ships and welcomed just about 260,000 passengers at that time. So during that season, cruise lines had repositioned ships to Asia and Australia and tested other markets. But I want to say congratulations to our maritime team, who have really worked hard to kind of engage the cruise line industry. And this year's performance is similar to our 2023-2024 season. And that's when Global Traveler magazine recognized us, San Diego, as the best cruise port in the world. That season saw 101 cruise calls with 340,000 passengers. So to give you a sense of why this matters for all of us, each voyage that begins and ends in San Diego, so a home port call, injects $2 million into the local economy through ship provisioning and visitor spending. A stop here by a cruise ship that originates at a different port brings in about $600,000 into our local economy. This year's fiscal year, the port's cruise businesses will generate an estimated $157 million in economic impact to the San Diego County. And I see we're down to 3.5 minutes, so I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Commissioner Moore.
Okay. Hello. Hello, everyone. Danielle Moore, very proud to be to serve on this board. And one of the best parts is being able to serve with the other commissioners. Commissioner Zuchet is modest when he talks about the MCAS, but I'm sure you all observed how he stood up a little taller, his chest stuck out a little bit more, and that's because of the work that was done with MCAS was during his tenure as chair. So as he is vice chair this year, we are very excited about his leadership next year so that he can continue introducing more innovative ideas like MCAS. I'm going to walk us quickly through some other exciting things that are happening at the Port of San Diego, the first one being Harbor Drive 2.0. And this project is about modernizing movement. We reduce truck idling, improve safety, and make access more predictable, while also moving goods better and making breathing easier. Harbor Drive is a frontline corridor. It has to work for freight, visitors, and nearby neighbors, especially communities impacted by diesel emissions. And it is not just a traffic project, it's a health and mobility project. Aligned with our emissions reduction goals and regional partners like Caltrans and Sandag, who have been instrumental in making this project come to life. And while we're modernizing, one thing I also wanted to note that is already this year, the port participated in a joint federal RAISE grant application with Caltrans with the goal of furthering this corridor concept. And also environmental analysis is expected to be released for public review this fall. Next slide, please. One of the exciting stories that we are able to tell at the Port of San Diego is about the Blue Economy Incubator. You look at places like Silicon Valley that have become known for their tech innovation. The San Diego Bay has really become known all over the world for the innovation that we are doing in our San Diego Bay in terms of incubating technologies and concepts that will improve the blue tech economy. And so the Board of Commissioners last month approved the addition of our 13th early stage water dependent company to the roster of the Port's Blue Economy Incubator portfolio. The new entrant is Nyoka Design Corporation, also known as LuxBlue. And one of the things that makes them so exciting is that they have patented underwater bioluminescent lighting solution that will replace plastic glow sticks, which are harmful to the environment. The board agreed to fund the LuxBio startup for up to $350,000 for 18 months, where they will be able to use the bay to test their enzyme-powered underwater lighting technology at several locations. And in exchange, they will pay us up to $2.1 million over time from eventual sales of their product. One of the proof points when we look at our entire portfolio is that we have had innovative technologies that have removed marine debris at a scale of over 110,000 pounds. We have also had living shoreline where 60 plus species were documented on bioenhancing armor units within months. We're able to see real-time environmental monitoring that replaces weeks-long lab delays with actionable data. And so that same commitment to a healthier, more accessible bay shows up in how we invest in our parks, starting with Cesar Chavez Park. Next slide, please. Commissioner Zuchet talked about some of the work that is doing to redesign the park in collaboration with Councilmember Moreno's office. And I want to just acknowledge that that work is not about, consulting with the community afterwards, but from the very beginning being integrated in the community and really getting feedback about what they want. And so the Port will host a free Day at the Park cultural celebration at Cesar Chavez Park on Saturday, April 11th from 11 to 3 p.m. This family-friendly event is part of the Port's expanded access program that really is designed to bring people out, bring residents out to our parks to be able to enjoy the waterfront. And we are able to sponsor a day of fun and entertainment. And highlights include multicultural entertainment featuring local artists, hands-on children's activities, interactive community booths, and vouchers for free food and beverages. We are entering our third year of water activation program, and we'll have similar events at other parks throughout the Bay. All right, our last slide is focus on the Big Bay Boom. Every July, we get very excited about this event that brings hundreds of thousands of visitors to San Diego. The Port began to be the title sponsor of the Big Bay Boom this 4th of July with the fireworks event that draws crowds of 300,000 attendees. The pyrotechnics show provides a boost to hotels, restaurants, and small businesses, and this year's show will be special as the nation celebrates the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The Port is partnering with Fleet Week San Diego as the event's new nonprofit partner and fiscal sponsor, aligning with Celebration with an organization that directly supports active duty service members and veterans. The cost or the benefit to the Bay is $1 million in terms of the economic impact. And we also are excited to provide sponsorship to support cruise ships that are positioned in the Bay during the event. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, and that concludes our report. We're happy to take any questions, and I did just want to end on something that Commissioner Moore references, which is we're very grateful for the opportunity to serve. We appreciate the confidence you show in us to do that on behalf of the people of San Diego, and we also, I think I'm speaking for everybody, we really enjoy working with each other as well, and so I wanted to thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for taking the time to come here and make the annual report and your service to the Port and to the city as our representatives. So with that, Clerk, please go to public comment.
Thank you, Council President. I've started the 5-minute timer here in Council Chambers because I do not have any speaker slips for this item here in Council Chambers. Going to those online, John Stump, if you can please unmute. After that is Andrea Ebbing and then 8700. John Stump.
Hi, good afternoon. You know, the Port report was very good. But the problem is the Port, on one hand, claims that it's trying to reduce carbon pollution, global warming, and the environment. All of the things that the Port does create global warming and carbon production. So what's needed in the future is that for each activity, we need to have an accounting of how much carbon, how much global warming pollution was created, and what they did to decrease it. Folks, there's no free lunch. We can't, on one hand, salute climate change and global warming reduction, and on the other hand, increase our activities that burn fossil fuels and pollute the atmosphere. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Andrea Ebbing, if you can please unmute.
Hi guys, that was a really good presentation. I think the port in that area is just one of my favorite parts of San Diego. I think it's the place where upon arrival, everyone is going to remember. So I like the plans I just saw a lot. Especially the last one where, it showed what's going to go over to Seaport Village. And then just to somewhat piggyback on the last comment, I know we have a long history of fireworks. That's part of our skyline. That's part of San Diego for SeaWorld and all that. But I almost wonder if it's time to start looking at drone shows versus fireworks for the emissions and that sort of thing, and the waste that is produced from those shows. Not quite sure what the regulations would be FAA-wise or aviation-wise, but there are certainly some really solid vendors out there that do amazing drone shows that could be a great addition and attraction to San Diego. I think that whole area and everything we just saw could also be a great attraction for, I don't know who's doing our tourism, what used to be Conviz, Convention Visitors Bureau, if we have something like that. But if we could start campaigning in feeder markets, what I just saw from that, visual is enough for me to want to visit if it was like Long Beach or Anaheim or something like that. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is 8700. If you can please unmute. After that is Hector, and then Kathleen Lippett.
Thank you, Joyce Inyata, CD3. So good to see all of you representing the port. A great presentation from all three. And I have to say this on record every time. I love our working waterfront. So you had three big categories and you covered them all very well. I want to say a couple of things. First of all, the port honors our military in big ways. The military are a big part of our San Diego family. Thank you so much. Health equity for all, maintaining the clear air strategy. I believe that's a correct saying of that. Thank you for that. Love the electric cranes. When they arrived, it's just beyond belief. They're so amazing. Thank you for that. 1220 Pacific Highway looks positive and fresh. Wow, 1940s buildings. Wow, that's well over, I guess, about 85 years old. Those are strong buildings. Best cruise port in the world. That's an amazing statement. And the amount of economic impact because of being the best cruise port in the world is so appreciated. We need more revenue, everybody. Love the day at the park. It's terrific. I would just ask you to do this. Most of the people I talk to in the downtown area do not know much about the working waterfront. Spread the word.
Thank you for those comments. The 5-minute timer has concluded here in council chambers. There are 2 people in the queue. No additional people will be taken. Hector and Kathleen Lippett, your final 2 speakers. Hector, if you can please unmute.
Hi, Hector here. Hey, the port has really had their stuff together from the get-go. You guys are doing a great job. I just wish the city could model their game after you guys. Everything's looking great. The veterans thing down at Midway, I think you guys got to get on it, man, because Malin over there is burning daylight. The guy's getting old. You guys got to step it up like 6 months so it can be done before he checks out. But he's a great guy. So also he wants to build a tunnel on the Strand. I don't know if he's told you about it, but Malin's thinking about it. He's trying to do that with the Navy. So to open up another part of San Diego Bay. And it would be like on the southern end there, put a jetties in there and have a tunnel the road go underneath it. That'd be another project to work on with the port. And whatever you guys are doing, full speed ahead, get it done. And thanks a lot for your time. Thanks.
Thank you. And our final speaker is Kathleen Lippett. If you can please unmute.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for the presentation. It was a great presentation. I really do appreciate all your suggestions and plans to increase and improve park amenities and park acreage. The clean air strategy is something that San Diegans will welcome, and I am hoping that there is pushback from the port as to the taking or transitioning of Mission Bay Parkland to commercial amenities, and taking away any of that from the public is really a disturbing prospect. But thank you for all of you're doing right now. Appreciate it. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. That concludes public comment on item 200.
All right, thank you, City Clerk. As a reminder, this is an information item and no motions required. We'll turn it over to council members for questions and comments, and we'll start with Council Member Elo Rivera.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you to our Port Commissioners. Really appreciate all 3 of you. The time that you all spend, the way that you show up, and I really do appreciate it. I think that San Diego is super well served by all three of you, and I appreciate you doing the work that you do. The updates were great, lots of good stuff. I really very much appreciate how much of what is coming online will benefit, or at least can benefit, San Diegans and provide access points for San Diegans, especially young people. Even the Shelter Island park, the little park that's there, I took my son there a couple weeks ago, and it's a great little playground. So appreciate the updates there and the progress that's being made. Sid, I think that's pretty incredible in terms of the updates on cruise ships. I'm curious, is there something in particular that you think changed, or is it like they experimented elsewhere and kind of forgot what a good thing they have here? What do you think the difference was on that front?
Thank you, Council Member. I think it's actually a combination of multiple things. I think we've heard from the cruise industry that their guests, their cruisers, they actually really like the San Diego home port. I think that actually drives a lot of their thinking. I think that they also did, as to your kind of like thinking about it, that they did do a lot of experimentation in Asia, and I think just the, typically a 3 to 5 day kind of trip through Baja actually is one that works really well, even just from not just from a visitor experience or customer experience, but also just from like an economics perspective as well. And then I can't thank enough our maritime team, who have been really diligent about going out and actually engaging each of our cruise line industries and keeping ones like Holland America, who's been a home port for some time now, very much engaged and excited about what we have to offer. And I know that there are a couple new cruise liners that are looking at doing home ports with us. So I actually think the next time we come here, we might have some bigger updates for you. But I think it's a combination of those three.
I just want to add to that. I think when Commissioner Varakara talks about they like the San Diego home port, they like being able to be dropped in the middle of our city and all that it offers. They like being adjacent to the airport. Where you look at other places in Southern California where it's so remote, the port is isolated from a lot of things that are accessible. But here in San Diego, you get dropped here and you get access to our entire city, to our transportation system, to the train system. And so it opens up so much for people when they come to San Diego. They're not just coming to, just go to the port. They're coming to see San Diego and see all that it has to offer.
Wait, on that point, I have to share a quick anecdote, which was I was at Ralph's bagging my groceries in line, and I was wearing my Port San Diego jacket. And the cashier asked me, "Do you work at the port?" And I said, "Actually, I'm one of our commissioners here in San Diego." And she said, "When are you bringing back a certain cruise line? Because my husband and I hate going to Long Beach." So I think that kind of like says it all.
Yeah. Thank you. One question I think I've asked every time you all have come, Pond 20. What's going on with Pond 20? What's the progress there?
Thanks, Councilman. I feel like both of them just looked at me.
Hot potato, hot potato.
So, a long process, obviously, right? And at the moment, so there are 6 agencies participating in the interagency review team to develop the banking enabling instrument along with the port. So maybe I should start by, for those who are unfamiliar with what a banking enabling instrument is, that's actually the legal binding agreement between the bank sponsor.
Can I stop you real quick? Maybe even a little bit more about what Pond 20 is, if you don't mind, if the council president's okay with a little bit of an overview for those who don't know.
Sure. Thank you, council member. It's basically like a wetlands mitigation project. So ensuring that there's specific space that we at the Port of San Diego will preserve for it's, I want to say it's 80 acres. I'm going to look at Job Nelson. Thank you very much. Council member, I just needed to ask you that. That is preserve wetlands mitigation. So what happens is oftentimes a developer will get, as they're trying to do a project, will be required to have a specific set aside for a wetlands mitigation for the development that they're doing. And they'll typically pay off a certain kind of amount of money for an in lieu fee that says, okay, here's this cash for preservation. And it's oftentimes just siloed and in different spaces. This particular project would ensure that that space here on the Tidelands would be preserved and could be used as this bank for other developers who are looking to determine projects. The money that's received can be then turned into an equity economic development opportunities. So it's actually the city of San Diego and Imperial Beach would be the recipients of those potential resources. I hope that's helpful, council member. And then the actual banking enabling instrument, as I mentioned, is the legally binding agreement between the regulatory agencies and the bank sponsor, which is the Port of San Diego. And through that agreement, that's where we actually are looking at defining how credits are created, right? So like, again, I just did a very big overview, but the agreement itself will determine how those credits are created, how they are released, and then how they are sold. So the interagency review team currently consists of the Army Corps of Engineers, the EPA, U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife Services, NOAA, the California Regional Water Quality Control Board, and the California Coastal Commission. So where we stand right now is that there has been an iterative process of back and forth with questions being addressed by the interagency review team. And currently, we have 1,000 comments from that team, and we're actually going through those because they're all technical in nature. And the port's plan is to resubmit with answers to those questions later this spring.
Got it. And I don't know if there's any way of even projecting out, or is there a hope for when this turns into the sort of wetlands rehab project that is envisioned? Or I don't even know if I can say envisioned, but like some folks hope for?
Sometimes, like, again, like once we submit these questions or these answers, I have a feeling there's going to be multiple more questions that came from that. I will say this, council member, I asked port staff for a monthly meeting to just keep me updated on where things stand. So the hope is that we can move this along as fast as possible, because it's a real opportunity. If we can turn this into an economic development banking instrument in equity for San Diego and Imperial Beach.
And if I think it was natural wetlands, or at one point
Correct.
Before it was a salt, like a commercial salt pond, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So there has to be restoration as well.
Yeah. Got it. Thank you. I appreciate that update, and thank you again, everyone, for all the work that you're doing. Really, really appreciate everything that you're doing and have done. Thank you,
All right,
President.
thank you, Councilmember Rivera. We'll go next to Councilmember Moreno.
Wonderful, thank you, and thank you for the presentation. I want to thank our port commissioners just for everything they do. San Diego Port, there is no other port like it, I would venture to say, in the whole world. It's extremely dynamic: hotels, shipbuilding, Navy, potential mitigation banks, and city residents, right? And there is nothing like this. So it's really clear to me that a great deal of planning, coordinating, and vision has gone into the efforts that you guys presented. And I do appreciate the transparency in sharing the progress to us and also to the public. I am very excited about all the projects. In particular, I want to point out Harbor Drive 2.0, the Pond 20 that was just mentioned, that's in District 8, and especially the significant investment the port is making into Cesar Chavez Park. As was mentioned, Pond 20 is a salt-encrusted area, which the port will hopefully transfer into a mitigation bank, first of its kind in the San Diego Bay. I, once upon a time, was a staffer where there were proposals for this Pond 20, and I think one of the most interesting one was a medieval times arena. Obviously, we're worlds away from an arena, but I will say that I will be specifically asking what delays have we experienced in Pond 20 at the state level. And you mentioned that what was the agency that you guys were, the port is waiting, is putting together its response to this agency, right, on an array of questions that they have asked.
If I may just kind of clarify that, Councilmember, so we're the bank sponsor, and so we have to respond to the interagency review team. So that's called the IRT.
Interagency review team. And is that a state agency or is that a federal?
It's both. So it's
Okay.
it's 6 members of that IRT is the Army Corps of Engineers, EPA, U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife Services, NOAA,
Got you.
and then the California Regional Water Quality Control Board and the California Coastal Commission.
California Coastal Commission. Thank you for reiterating that. I missed it when you first mentioned it. And so you guys will respond, or the Port of San Diego will respond. How long will that response take?
Again, I think that it's been an iterative process. So to be clear, just so you know, this isn't the first response. We've been having back and forth. But the most recent set of questions and comments we received were over 1,000. And so we're looking at, and now everybody at the Port of San Diego are on the record because I'm saying it, that they told us, but it's going to be submitted later this spring.
Later this spring?
Correct.
So before June 20th, 2026.
And I have a feeling you will be calling me on June 20th,
And I'm just
2026.
trying to, I want to, I mentioned this earlier, I have until December. And since I have been working at the city of San Diego, I feel like this is a missed opportunity because of the land. The land that we have in Pond 20 is, Poseidon used it for mitigation right next to Pond 20, and they mitigated for the desalinization plant in the northern part of the district, northern part of the county. And I think it's a great opportunity, and I know developers and folks are looking for land like Pond 20 to bring back to life. And obviously in the South Bay, for any folks who ever drive over towards going on Old State Route 75, Palm Avenue, and you're going over towards the ocean, it's the big piece of land that's over on your right-hand side. Unfortunately, fortunately, that is what the South Bay has, what we got from the port. And so we really want to make sure that it's put to work and that we use it to the best of its ability. So we are going to respond before summertime, and we don't know, this is the first time I ever hear of this agency, so maybe we need to dissect this in another committee to get to know a little bit more about what are the next steps after that, how long does it take. I don't think we're the first mitigation bank in the nation. We might be, I don't know. So just to get more information on what the steps to hold us as legislators accountable, and also you as our fearless port commissioners accountable as well.
That sounds great, Councilmember. I will say too, just very quickly, this council gave me the honor of serving on our Port Commission in February of 2024, and I think it was in March of that year when I asked for my first meeting about Pond 20, because it seemed such an opportunity for us. I will also share that Commissioner Dan Malcolm, who represents Imperial Beach, he and I have chatted about how he actually was on the Imperial Beach Council in the late 90s when the agreement was made to create Pond 20 with a negotiated agreement with the environmental justice community as well. So we also have a strong partner in our fellow city in Imperial Beach for moving this forward. So
and it's in
he's been
the
there.
Imperial Beach's former redevelopment district.
Correct.
Which is now confusing because of the dissolution of redevelopment. But we're not going to get into the weeds of things. I just want to make sure that Pond 20 comes to fruition in my lifetime. I'm 43 years old, about to turn 44, so I will be pushing on that front. But thank you for that, and obviously more to come. Also equally excited about Harbor Drive 2.0. It's a significant project that will contribute to the vast industry sector in Barrio Logan and also the port. And not only will it bring better and nicer infrastructure, it will also mitigate environmental impacts that affect neighboring communities of Barrio Logan. For decades, the community of Barrio Logan has suffered from systemic disinvestment limited green space and environmental burdens, I should say, plural. I know Job has taken the lead on this, and I do thank him for it. Every time I ask for an update, he's quick to respond on what you guys, if I may take 3 more minutes of my time. This is obviously a priority for the port, and it took a while, but I thank you guys for making this one of the lead priorities. It is a significant project within the port, so thank you for that. Cesar Chavez Park, 3-acre park on the waterfront in Barrio Logan, seeing meaningful resources directed into Cesar Chavez Park is a major step in the right direction, and acknowledgement that our communities deserve the same level of care and opportunity as any other. I want to commend port staff who've worked diligently to advance this particular project. The community meetings regarding Cesar Chavez Park improvements have been just astounding. We give the community a platform to voice their opinion, should they have one, regarding this park that they have. And once again, a real opportunity to share input, raise concerns, and the last part is really have them help us shape the future of that park. I think this is what collaboration should look like. Agencies working hand in hand with residents, listening first and making investments that reflect the community's priorities. And I know none of that could have been done without your guys' leadership, so it's an honor to have you guys sit as our port commissioners. You guys are very open, candid, and I think you have the community's best interests at heart, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that partnership. And so, is there a motion on the floor? It's an informational item. Okay, wonderful. Well, happy to have you guys. When do you guys come back? Before December, I hope.
When do you want us back, Councilmember Moreno?
How often do they present?
We'll come back next week.
Here, but we
Once a
can
year?
have them come back in the
Maybe
fall.
like a day after spring is over? Just kidding. No, thank you guys. I appreciate it very much.
Council, if I may, in terms of coming back, I think your idea about a committee hearing with respect to Pond 20 is a great idea and an appropriate thing, because it is a big deal. It has taken forever. Nobody's making any excuses, and you heard that list of organizations. It's no shade on the Army Corps of Engineers or EPA or Coastal, but it's quite a process, and Commissioner Moore and I are all in for sure, and it's fair to say that Commissioner Varakara has been particularly all in and leading the way on this, and so I think he will be the spokesperson for the committee meeting. Thank you.
So I see that as a going away present for Councilmember Moreno, right? Wrap it up by December. Thank you, Councilmember Moreno. And we'll go next to Councilmember Von Wilpert.
Thank you very much to our 3 commissioners for your excellent work and for the presentation today. You represent the city of San Diego very well, and we're glad that you're doing all that hard work on top of your normal lives and jobs. And so please know that I know how hard you work, especially since I sit on the airport authority. I hear all the time about how hard everyone is working. So I appreciate you very much for your work. And huge kudos to the successes on emissions and sustainability. I mean, you really are industry leaders in this, and it's been incredible to watch. And as you know, a San Diegan, we are all beneficiaries of your work in terms of cleaner environment and clean air to breathe. And so, just in cheaper energy bills too. So it's just really want to thank you for all of that. Looking forward to all the improvements coming up. I do have one question about the convention center. And I see Job and Scott are here too. So I'm excited to hear their thoughts on this. But I know that, previously the Port of San Diego and the City of San Diego have worked in great partnership to make sure the convention center is maintained and in the expansions that we have been working on. In 1996, the port and the city formed a joint powers agreement to issue $200 million in lease revenue bonds to make sure the convention center was taken care of. And I think we're at a point now where we need to do a similar long-term bond again for the convention center, because they are coming to the city every budget year saying there's $400 million in back maintenance that they have to do just for the basics of the convention center. And, It's one of our big economic revenue generators that we share with the port. And we have been shown videos of, folks who have booked out rooms in the convention center for their convention halls in waters leaking through the roof onto their conventions. And nobody needs that when we're competing with San Francisco, we're competing with San Jose, other areas. And so now that we have finally secured the funding through Measure C to come to the city of San Diego, the increased TOT tax, we do have an opportunity to leverage that funding and do another series of leaseback revenue bonds or infrastructure bonds. But it would be really wonderful to have the port's partnership in that, as the city had before, because as you might have seen, the city's budget deficit isn't the easiest hill for us to tackle, and so we may need an additional creditor like the port to partner with us on that, but it's to our joint benefit. And so I'm just, I'm going to plug, Rip Ripito, I'm going to say, hey, you guys need to get on this as well, but I'm just hoping the port would be open to those conversations, because the convention center is a gem that we both share.
So let me just agree with everything you said and begin by thanking you and the rest of the council for your commitment to your recent approval of expenditure of some of that Measure C money for maintenance and capital improvement at the convention center. As you note, it's absolutely critical, and an expansion ultimately could prove to be important and a good thing, but what has to happen is we have to not have that tired facility get more tired. And so thank you very much for this council's commitment to that. And in terms of your question about going forward and our interest in engaging with you on that, the answer is of course, and we look forward to doing that.
Okay, thank you very much. People much smarter than me will be leading those discussions. I just wanted to put it out there that it's something I think could benefit all of us. Especially since we finally secured the tax revenue on an ongoing basis, we might as well leverage that. But thank you. I'm really excited to see all the new projects coming up. The Rady Shell is one of my favorite projects the city and the port and the whole region has done recently. Huge kudos to that. Looking forward to Topgolf and everything else. So thank you again for your work. Thank you for representing the city of San Diego so well on our behalf, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Von Wolpert. We'll go next to Councilmember Whitburn.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Vice Chair Zuccat and Commissioner Varakara, Commissioner Moore. That was quite an update. Really appreciate you taking the time to come in and brief us on all that is new and happening, and particularly within the city of San Diego. I think it's worth emphasizing that the Port of San Diego is its own agency, its own jurisdiction, but the activities that you highlighted very directly benefit City of San Diego residents and people from around the region, but for our purposes, San Diego residents, you are doing a lot of good for the city. And you look just at some of the things right here downtown. Freedom Park is going to be a beautiful new park right along the bay downtown. You've got Seaport San Diego. You were talking about the environmental study on the way or underway and concluding perhaps by the end of the year. That is going to be just a wonderful addition and an economic driver to the city. Thank goodness those Navy office buildings are being redeveloped. That'll be good to see along Pacific Highway. You mentioned the maritime clean air strategy, the electrification of the cruise ship terminal. That benefits all of us here. And just the number of cruise ship passengers that are activating downtown. And I just very much appreciate what the three of you are doing and accomplishing as the City of San Diego's representatives to the Port Commission. And I want to thank the staff leadership that's here as well for all that they're doing. So thank you. Thank you for all the accomplishments, and thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Whitburn. Not seeing anybody else on the lights. I'll join the chorus. Thank you to commissioners for taking the time. As council president, I've been reviewing our council policies and how many boards and commissions are supposed to report back to the council on a regular basis, and you all are one of the ones that consistently come back year after year. And as Councilmember Moreno's have the transparency in not only the work that you do every day as commissioners, along with your regular lives there, is very much appreciated, and communicating that to the council, and I'm sure to the mayor's office, of the good work that you're doing to make sure that we're all in sync. and can manage this incredible resource that we all get to enjoy. The projects you did, my wife and I had a chance to stay at the Gaylord when it was first opened, and we went out, took a walk, and suddenly we saw this incredible renovation and rebuilding of the environment, coastal sage, and all that was done to the north there, really pretty spectacular in that commitment. And I think that really highlights what the port is all about, the good work you do every day. Maybe some people will see it, maybe they won't, but it's the right thing to do on any basis. So thank you for that. You have an amazing staff that gets that work done every day and navigates all the challenges that the Port District faces and has navigated us through the economic downturn of COVID and kind of bounced back both for the working waterfront, but also for the port tenants and the contribution they make, and certainly an important part of the TOT that this city relies on. So thank you for that good work. And I'll highlight the electrification component. Yeah, there's no free lunch, but you don't turn on a dime when you make that environmental commitment. It takes time, it takes money to make those conversions. First electric tugboat, the largest and most capable electric cranes on the West Coast. Those are big, big ideas, and that really shows the leadership, and then the whole blue economy and trying to really figure out what else can this bay really provide as a resource is rather extraordinary. So thank you for your commitment and your willingness to continue to lead. And I will continue to be jealous about how fast you can move compared to the city. And without adding excuses, as Commissioner Zuchet said, having been involved in the formation of mitigation banks, it's serious business, and every I has to be dotted and every T has to be crossed to make sure that those who use the mitigation bank once it's formed really uphold what the original vision was. So it takes too much time, but I know you'll get it done. So thank you for that good work. Thank you for my colleagues, the good work they do. And again, we'll just close by saying thank you for taking the time to come out this afternoon.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to be talking about items 201 and 202. For those items, there will be a joint presentation and combined public comment. A separate vote will be taken for item 202, and no motion will be required for 201, which is just strictly information. So with that, clerk, please introduce items 201 and 202.
Thank you, Council President. Item 201 is the Dam Safety Program Annual Update 2024 to 2025. This is an informational item. And item 202 is the award of the as-needed dam design services agreements with HDR Engineering, Inc., H2426347-M, and Stantec Consulting Services, Inc., H2426348-M. 6 votes are required pursuant to Charter Section 99. If you'd like to speak on this item, now's the time to turn in your speaker slip or raise your hand, *9 icon. Thank you.
All right, thank you, City Clerk. With that, staff, please introduce yourselves for the record and let us know how much time you need for the combined presentation.
Lisa Celaya. Kelly Balo, Deputy Director.
Tiffany Kirk, Assistant Deputy Director.
And we'll need about 20 minutes.
All right, when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Council President LaCava and City Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on the City of San Diego's dam safety program. Today's presentation will walk through the condition of our dams and water tanks, the programmatic approach we are using in close coordination with our regulator, the Division of Safety of Dams, as well as the significant progress made over the past year to address both immediate safety needs and long-term system resilience. As you will see, dam safety is not a single project or timeline. It is a sustained, parallel effort to protect public safety today while planning and delivering the long-term investments required to responsibly manage some of the oldest infrastructure in California. Dams and water tanks are essential infrastructure for city water systems as they store and deliver water to treatment plants, provide emergency reserves during disasters, and manage flood risk. The city's Public Utilities Department's Dam Safety Program oversees 11 dams and 2 potable water tanks, which all fall under the regulatory jurisdiction of California Department of Water Resources, Division of Safety of Dams, typically referred to as DSOD. The Public Utilities Department coordinates daily with the San Diego Fire Department to ensure our resources are available to assist in their efforts fighting fires. To the right, you will see some of the different types of water infrastructure the team manages. Dams are particularly crucial as they act as barriers, creating reservoirs that collect and store large volumes of water. Alongside dams, water tanks play a vital role in our water supply by providing storage capacity, maintaining water pressure throughout the network, and ensuring that treated drinking water remains readily available for distribution during peak usage times or in emergency situations. Our reservoirs, dams, and water tanks are connected through a network of pipelines, channels, and pump stations, which facilitate the movement of water to drinking water treatment facilities into approximately 1.4 million customers. The water from our reservoirs, on average, makes up to 10 to 15% of the city's water supply. And we've been able to increase that to 30% in recent years as a result of receiving more rainfall and maximizing our operations. As a reminder, water collected in our reservoirs costs roughly $400 per acre foot compared to water purchase from our wholesaler, the San Diego County Water Authority, that costs over $2,600 per acre foot. With that, I'll turn it over to Kelly.
Thank you, Lisa. DSOD has mandated water level height restrictions on 5 reservoirs, which will remain in place until necessary repairs and improvements are completed. These reservoir restrictions marked a fundamental shift for our dam safety program. Up until this point, our program was focused primarily on routine operations and maintenance. In coordination with our regulator, the Public Utilities Department has been working to implement and utilize a forward-looking, programmatic dam safety approach. What this slide depicts is the reality of our work today. Dam safety is no longer sequential. It requires a proactive, sustained, parallel effort where continuous assessments, inspections, maintenance, and repair projects are done while we simultaneously plan and develop a long-term, risk-based capital program that will fundamentally reshape the dam system through rehabilitation, replacement, and removal over the coming decades. PUD is continuing to implement a nationally recognized dam safety standard, integrating strategic planning with comprehensive program management to address both safety and operational challenges. This slide shows the components included in the comprehensive dam safety program, which include performing approximately 400 maintenance and inspection activities each year, completing 159 condition assessments to evaluate facility conditions and identify near-term, interim, and long-term risk reduction measures, designing and constructing approximately 27 repair projects, and we've identified at least 3 long-term improvements. We currently estimate that approximately $3 billion will be needed over the coming decades to complete all the improvements. Building our internal team has been a priority. We established a dedicated team in 2020 and now have 110 team members across the city focusing on projects that address critical deficiencies, including seismic stability, overtopping, concrete deterioration, and erosion. In parallel, or last year alone, the program oversight team grew from 8 to 20 full-time staff with expertise in both engineering and environmental. Our operations expanded from 4 to 6 dedicated crews, and we doubled our equipment resources to be able to deliver more work in-house. In parallel, the program prioritized ongoing dam safety training to build internal knowledge. But in addition to these internal resources, the dam safety program also requires specialized third-party expertise due to the complexity and long-term nature of the projects involved. All of these resourcing efforts combined enable us to meet increasingly complex and evolving dam safety requirements. Without proper resourcing, PUD would not be in a position to proactively manage risk as opposed to reacting to findings from our regulator. Understanding the condition of our dams and water tanks is critical to informing risk-based decisions on maintenance, repair, and long-term investments to protect downstream communities and water supply. We are making significant progress in completing assessments for our highest risk and poorest condition dams. To date, we have completed 60 condition assessments, with an additional 13 currently in progress and the remaining assessments planned through the year 2032. Shown here are pictures of helicopter-supported geotechnical drilling and investigations completed last year at Lower Otay and Barrett Dam. Helicopter access is required due to the steep terrain, limited access, and sensitive environmental resources. These investigations provide critical information on foundation conditions, help confirm future design assumptions, and support evaluations of whether the dams can meet modern safety standards. While we continue to advance long-term planning, near-term repairs and maintenance projects are needed. Over the past year, we've completed numerous repairs to address known deficiencies. These included clearing the lower portion of the spillway at El Capitan Dam to restore hydraulic capacity, completing vault and valve improvements at Miramar Dam to improve reservoir operability, repairing handrails at Barrett and Lower Otay dams to support crew access for inspections and maintenance. Looking ahead, 14 repair projects are currently in design to upgrade monitoring systems, repair concrete, improve outlet works, remove vegetation, and strengthen security. 4 additional projects are in planning to address intake restorations and emergency drawdown requirements. And construction on 5 projects will begin this upcoming calendar year. Additionally, our operations team actively manages reservoir levels to stay below DSOD mandated thresholds and has made important system improvements, including faster reporting of field issues, real-time monitoring of raw water reservoirs through the One Rain system, and the first ever use of high-resolution LiDAR at El Capitan and Morena dams to support ongoing monitoring and movement of surface changes. As always, we are working to balance critical infrastructure needs with affordability for our ratepayers. Program funding comes from the Water Utility Capital Improvement Program and Water Operating Funds, and as future costs are refined, they will be reflected in PUD's annual 5-year financial outlook, which informs the city's water rate setting process. We continue to proactively pursue state and federal funding opportunities to help reduce costs for ratepayers. To date, $1.7 million in state and federal funding has been secured for ongoing initiatives, including seismic stability analysis and geotechnical investigations at El Capitan, Barrett, and Hodges dams, as shown on the pictures to the right. In total, the city has applied for approximately $322 million in external funding, including $77 million in grant funding and selection by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to submit a full application for $241 million in low-cost loan financing for dam improvement projects through the year 2031. This slide shows PUD's strategic phasing plan to address dam safety across all 13 DSOD-regulated facilities based on available financing. At the top of the timeline, each facility is shown with its DSOD condition rating and the year we plan to complete long-term improvement plans. Dams in fair, poor, or unsatisfactory condition are addressed first, followed by facilities in satisfactory condition in later years. In addition to facility condition, the timing of the long-term improvement planning considers factors such as downstream risk, required water level restrictions, the role of each reservoir in the water supply system, and coordination with the city's Pure Water program. At the bottom of this timeline are the program-level efforts that guide system-wide decisions. This work begins with updating the water model to identify the most critical reservoirs for long-term water supply, supporting PUD's goal of increasing local water use to 60% by the year 2040. In 2028, we plan to complete a program plan to help manage risk, and in 2032, we will have the data and plans in place to develop a strategic capital improvement phasing plan that sequences work across the system for decades to come. This information, together with condition assessments and long-term improvement plans, will give us a comprehensive and holistic understanding of which reservoirs are most critical, where long-term infrastructure investments provide the greatest value, allowing us to strategically phase dam safety improvements over time. This planning is happening alongside active projects, with repairs moving forward to keep our dams safe and operational, while long-term strategic planning efforts are underway. So we know we cannot replace or upgrade all of our high-risk dams at the same time. These projects are large, complex, taking many years to plan, fund, design, and build. Because of this, we're using a phased, risk-based approach. Long-term improvements are prioritized and sequenced over time, while interim repairs are done to manage safety until permanent solutions are delivered. City Council's prior approval of our as-needed program management agreement allows us to assess dam conditions, set priorities, and plan this work in phases, as shown on the left side of the slide. However, that agreement supports planning and assessments only. It does not include the design or construction oversight services needed to implement repair projects. The next step is securing new as-needed dam design service agreements so priority dam safety projects can move forward from planning into design and construction, helping to avoid emergency-driven actions and to ensure steady, responsible progress. Without these design service contracts, we would be unable to move forward immediately with critical dam safety repair projects. Shown on this slide are some examples of upcoming dam safety projects at Murray, Sutherland, and Lower Otay dams that require design work before the projects can move forward. While long-term improvements are being implemented, a process that can take decades, interim projects are needed to manage risks and maintain regulatory compliance. Examples of projects include seismic upgrades to Murray Outlet Tower and dam structure, intake and outlet improvements at Sutherland Reservoir, concrete repairs at Lower Otay to maintain structural integrity and safe access. All of these projects range from smaller but critical repairs, around $18 million, to major rehabilitation projects costing upwards of $40 to $80 million. From initial studies through design, environmental review, permitting, and construction, individual dam safety projects can take 7 to 10 years or more to deliver. That brings us to the action item for your consideration today. PUD is proposing 2 10-year as-needed dam design services contracts, each in an amount not to exceed $75 million. It's important to note this work was included in the water rates Council approved last year, is in PUD's budget, as well as our 5-year outlook. Council will hear an annual dam safety update and have an opportunity during each budget and 5-year outlook process, as well as any future rate case, to receive additional information on this program and its associated spending. Highly skilled experts in dam design and engineering, environmental compliance, and construction support will complement the strong internal team we have built. The proposed contract duration and amount are based on detailed engineering estimates and historical data, aligning with the extensive timeframe needed for specialized dam repair and rehabilitation projects. Long-term, as-needed design agreements ensure continuity of expertise, regulatory coordination, and timely delivery of required critical dam safety work. The RFP selection process began in 2024. 2 firms, HDR and Stantec, were selected as the preferred providers following a qualifications-based selection. Both firms would work on a rotating basis, task order basis, ensuring fairness and consistent access to dam design expertise. Listed on this slide are the services the agreements will provide, including dam engineering analysis, design development, permit and regulatory coordination, environmental planning, and construction phase engineering support. The consultants will support the steady delivery of maintenance, repair, and rehabilitation projects for spillways, outlets, and dam structures. PUD is requesting your approval of 2 10-year as-needed dam design services agreements with HDR and Stantec, each in an amount not to exceed $75 million. Funded through the Water Utility CIP and Operating Fund and included within both the recently approved water rates and PUD's 5-year outlook, each agreement would carry a minimum spend of $1,000. These agreements are essential for delivering critical dam safety projects, ensuring that our dams and water tanks remain safe, reliable, and compliant with DSOD requirements while continuing to meet community needs for decades to come. Importantly, these are as-needed agreements. There is no obligation to use the full contract amount. The work is authorized only through individual task orders. Even if the full value were utilized over the 10-year term, it would equate to approximately $7.5 million per year each contract. This provides us long-term flexibility rather than a single upfront commitment. Your support for the ordinances requested today for approval of the 2 as-needed dam design services agreements will help us continue to safeguard our water infrastructure, protect the public, meet our regulatory requirements, and enhance the resilience and sustainability of our water system. We thank you for your consideration, and we are here to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you very much for the presentation. And with that, clerk, please proceed with public comment.
Thank you, Council President. We have several speakers here and online. Rhonda Farrar, if you can please come forward. You'll have time ceded to you by Mary Ellen Leahy. If you can please raise your hand. Thank you so much. And if I can have the following individuals please come forward to the yellow reserve seats. Monique Leisure, Steve Leisure, and Robert Dudley. If you can all please come up to the yellow reserve seats. You all have 2 minutes for item 201. Please proceed when ready.
Good afternoon, Honorable Council President, Council members, and city staff. My name is Rhonda Farrar, and I'm president of the Friends of Lake Hodges, whose mission it is to support local government efforts to improve Lake Hodges Dam safety and capacity, water quality, wildlife habitat, and public access for the benefit of our community. For over 100 years, Lake Hodges has been a crown jewel in North County, a vital drinking water reservoir, a critical habitat for wildlife, and a recreational haven for hikers, birders, fishermen, and paddlers. But the dam that makes this lake possible is currently unsafe and in danger of failing. Council members, this is not a future problem, this is a current crisis. The existing dam is 108 years old and deemed unsatisfactory by the DSOD. It's in the worst shape of all the dams in California, which is why the state has mandated construction begin by 2029. While we applaud the city's plan to evaluate all the dams in San Diego, it is most concerning that the current study of the Lake Hodges alternatives is now expected to be delayed until the end of the year. Lake Hodges has the largest watershed in San Diego. 1 inch of rain can raise the entire lake a foot. There's too much building downstream in Rancho Santa Fe and the other communities there for there not to be a dam for flood control. We need a new dam. If the dam fails tomorrow, downstream communities would be flooded. Lake Hodges would become a stagnant pool of wildlife and the wildlife that inhabit the lake would die. We would lose the ability to provide water to the Rancho Santa Fe and San Diego water districts. The San Diego Lagoon, which taxpayers have spent millions of dollars restoring, would dry up, decimating the wetlands and endangered bird populations that depend on it. And the $208 million pump storage facility, our region's largest battery for clean energy, would be rendered useless. We would lose the ability to move water where it's needed during a drought. A new dam needs to be designed, funded, and built as soon as possible. It is the best source of drinking water for downstream water districts and the lowest cost water available to the region. Although the Water Authority does not currently believe...
Thank you for that concluding comment.
I thought I had 4 minutes.
You have 2 minutes. You had one person cede your time. You only submitted for item 201. Did you want to speak to item 202 as well?
Sure. Can I finish my comments?
Please continue.
I just have another minute. A new dam needs to be designed, funded, and built as soon as possible. It is the best source of drinking water for downstream water districts and the lowest cost of water available to the region. Although the Water Authority does not currently believe it needs the water in Lake Hodges for the regions, that is likely to change over the 100-year life expectancy of a new dam. The new dam needs to be at least of sufficient height to allow the transfer of water to the rest of the region's water supply and for the billions of gallons of water, of precious rainwater, to not be released to the ocean for the next 100 years. The Friends of Lake Hodges represents thousands of residents who use this lake. We're asking you to prioritize the safety and reliability for our region. We're asking you to direct staff to expedite the design, building, and construction process to meet the state's 2029 deadline for construction. We ask you to collaborate with the city, county, and federal governments to secure funding for this project. Every month we wait, construction costs rise, and the risk of catastrophic failure increases. We are gambling with a critical piece of our infrastructure. Should this dam fail, the cost of building a new dam would increase exponentially than the cost of replacing the dam now with the existing dam in place. Let's not wait for disaster. Let's prevent it. On behalf of the thousands who live, work, and play around Lake Hodges, I urge you to direct staff to expedite this project. Let's get this done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Monique. You're speaking on item 202. You'll have 1 minute. Please proceed.
My name is Monique Lesher, and I'm representing Raise Lake Hodges and 80,000 San Diegans and an entire wetlands ecosystem. As someone who's worked for environmental organizations for most of my life, I'm happy to see your devotion to the environment. But Lake Hodges is an environmental tragedy waiting to happen. We support a new dam, but the city budget clearly does not support a $300 million replacement anytime soon. So in the meantime, Lake Hodges remains at 280 feet, that's roughly 16% capacity, and the San Diego River Valley is paying the price. The lake's not just a reservoir, it's a wildlife corridor, it's a wetland ecosystem, and it is a fire buffer. There has been no environmental impact upstream of the dam, and the lake bed is drying out. The grebes, there used to be, wow, that was fast. All right, thank you.
Thank you. The timer is there in the corner, so you can monitor your time. Steve Leischer, you're speaking on item 202.
Hello, my name is Steve Leischer. I'm also part of the Hodges gang here. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the unintended cost, the cascade of costs that's involved in this. So what happens is our property taxes are elevated because the amount of our home values actually continues to decrease. A great example of that would be the Pacific Palisades. The tragedies happened there. More than 90% of the people have yet to receive any insurance from the California Fire Plan. Less than 10% have received anything. Those that have only received an average of 10% of what they filed for. We're next in line for that to happen. So the cost of property taxes are inverted. We're paying high property taxes. California Fire Plan says no, our properties are worth less. In addition, our water costs are higher. Borrowing rates are higher. There's no competition. Selling our properties will be harder. Who wants to buy property we can't get insurance for? So anyway, there's a lot of cascade effects that go on.
Thank you for that concluding comment. Robert?
Good afternoon. I'm Robert Dudley, and the city of San Diego is my closest neighbor. I also am on the CAC Council, which I appreciate the patience and contribution of Council President LaCava and Council Member Wilbert. I brought this up probably 2 years ago, and in that time we've lost opportunity. The big difference is what happened in LA. The fires of LA have changed everything. Last week, the mayor directed the PUD to flush more precious water, local water, downstream to the ocean, while the city has done nothing to address dam conditions for years. So I stand in favor of the action now before us, repair and replacement of the dam, restoring the city's commitment to the emergency storage project. Empirically, there has been, may I be extended an additional 2 minutes for 201?
It would be an additional minute for 201.
Thank you. Let's see. So there's been no major dam collapse in California since 1928. At the same time, we've seen increases in the risk of fire throughout California. This body must recognize that urban wildfire represents the greatest existential threat to the citizens of San Diego. The Palisades and Altadena fires of 2025 and the Camp Fire of 2018 collectively resulted in 116 deaths, 255,000 displaced citizens, and more than 34,000 structures destroyed, with a loss of $69 billion. What have we learned? In the interim, the incident captains reported that each situation, the fires were behaving like they'd never seen before. Fires are different than they were in past years. So we really need to address this, and I would support what Rhonda said, that we really need to look at replacement of this dam, and in the meantime,
Your time has
consider
concluded,
fire.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Started the 5-minute timer. Going to those, that does conclude public comment here in council chambers. I've started the 5-minute timer. Going to those participating remotely. We currently have 4 speakers in the queue. Please be sure to let me know which item or items you wish to speak to when I unmute you. John Stump, if you can please unmute.
Thank you. I'm speaking to both items.
You'll have 2 minutes, 1 minute each. Please proceed.
Thank you. I support this item. I'm particularly concerned about the dam called Troyes. The dam called Troyes is the city park, Troyes Lake. This dam is more than 110 years old, of a unique type, no longer built, and if it failed, it would flood to the San Diego Bay, endanger some 5,000 homes and 10,000 sleeping residents. You have engineers on your council. They could look at the structure of this dam. It's very strange. What I ask is that the council look into opportunities to fill Troyes Lake instead of with potable water, which it's doing now, but with either using pure water or storm water. Finally, if you look at the staff report, nowhere in the staff report do they talk about the stakeholders as being Parks and Recreation and the recreation councils and the community councils. We need the staff reports in the future and this contract to consult with Parks and Recreation concerning Troyes Lake Dam. Thank you very much. Keep us safe.
Thank you. Next is phone number ending in 8700. If you can, if you can please unmute. 8700. My apologies. $8,700, I have sent you to unmute. If you can press *6 to unmute.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Are you speaking on?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, well, I did the *6 both times perfectly, so I don't know what happened. City Clerk, I will be doing both items. Thank you.
Please proceed.
First of all, PUD and you know, everyone involved in this, you have my full support. This is a mess, but put that behind us. We've got what we've got now. You have my full support. The Colorado River Aqueduct is 242 miles long. It provides 50 to 60% of our water. Local dams, such as Lake Hodges, thank you, speakers, for speaking up for Lake Hodges. Love you. So Lake Hodges and the other dams act as critical storage for this imported water, blending it with local runoff to supply the city with the water we need. Dam safety equals ongoing maintenance. Deferred maintenance is not safe. It creates high risk. As I said, this whole thing, the whole water supply system, it's a mess. But let's look for the opportunities and let's go there and do it. Whatever we need to do now, you have my full support, and I just love all of you. This is really tough work. Okay, on 202, quite a lot of the underrepresentation is there in both HDR and Stantec. Both companies do report progress in reducing the underrepresentation. So I was glad to see that statement, but really, really not happy with seeing how much is represented. So I was confused by the TBDs, the to be decided. They were all over the EOC report, and I never had seen that before, ever. So I don't know what that's all about. But in any case, water.
Your time has concluded. My apologies. Hector, if you can please unmute. That also concludes the 5-minute timer. We have 2 additional speakers. No other speakers will be taken. Hector, please let me know which items you wish to speak to.
I'd like to speak to both of them. Thanks for taking my call. This is Hector. Well, man, when I listen to this, you guys are way over your head on this, man. You're so far. You guys can't even figure out a parking meter, and the roof leaks at the convention center for months. You can't hire a couple roofers. You guys are way over your head. I think that the Lake Hodges lady should contract a private investor to build a dam for profit, give them the water rights, and give them the electric generator at the bottom. They could generate electricity, negotiate the rates for the water, let him own the dam, and he could build the dam like 20 feet higher than it is, state of the art, like 50 yards, 100 yards below the other dam, have the water raised up 20 feet above the existing dam and leave it, and everyone would be cool. It's just a matter of negotiating. Talk to the Bechtel or something, big company, big time guys can build a dam. They design it, they build it, they own it, and we'll let them charge for water, give us a discount rate on the water and the power that it generates over time, over 100 years. There could be some guys that'll do it, big time dudes that know how to build dams, instead of having and the other guys don't even talk about Lake Hodges. Look at the other dams. There's so many other dams you can look at. Because if you study Lake Hodges, we know it's got to go. And we got to make it profitable for somebody to just build it. And, they build it huge. It'll be a great investment. And the city won't need to touch it. The city's just wasting their money looking at it. They don't got the money. They don't even have the money. It's not even there. Thanks a lot.
Our next speaker is Blair Beekman. If you can please unmute.
Hi, Blair Beekman. I hope you can hear me. My Zoom's going to be really bad today. I'm on an airplane headed back to San Diego from Maui. To quickly offer
Will you be speaking on both items?
Work after flood. Yes.
Please continue. Please continue.
Yes. Okay. I have to hang up now. Quickly offer a lot of good work San Diego's done after flood issues around dam issues. Keep up the good work. Have these items a lot on city council meetings. Thank you.
Our final speaker is Kathleen Lippett.
Thank you for letting me speak. California I'd like to speak to both items, 101 and 102. Can you hear me?
Please proceed.
California is a desert, and water is a necessary and limited resource of the highest priority. Instead, the public has watched as dam conditions have eroded, not just Lake Hodges. The city was warned 4 years ago that Lake Hodges was deemed in need of critical repair. But once again, the city postponed and redirected funds reserved for addressing dam maintenance and repair to numerous other projects, none of which are as critical as potable water for the public. The cost of deferred spending for a critical resource or water has gone then from $400 per acre foot to $2,600 for imported water. It's inexcusable that the city failed to recognize that a dam over 100 years old should have been monitored regularly for necessary repairs. Its structural degradation and defects were only discovered in 2022. A full replacement of the dam is currently being planned for repair, but it won't be done until 2034. We wasted $11 billion worth of water that had to be flushed out to the ocean because Lake Hodges couldn't accommodate the increased water levels to preserve human life and property and comply with state regulators in a 2019 order. Please stop postponing the projects that you have money set aside to monitor and stop putting it towards special interest projects. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. That concludes public comment on these items.
All right, thank you, City Clerk. We'll turn it over to my colleagues for questions and comments. Again, 201 is an information item, no actions required. 202 does require a motion. And we'll start with the Chair of the Active Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Councilmember Whitburn.
Thank you, Council President. A couple of questions since we did discuss this at Active Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, but I think the points are important to capture here at the council meeting as well. The design services that are covered by these proposed contracts between the city and HDR and Stantec, those will be provided on an as-needed basis. And in other words, the city will only pay for the design services that it requests and receives, correct?
That is correct, sir.
We've been hearing a lot of discussion around the future of Lake Hodges Dam. The state has ordered that the city conduct some measures to reduce the risk of a dam failure. And those measures are not going to be cheap. So I want to ask for the record, given the questions about Lake Hodges Dam, does the city have a choice about whether or not to perform the state mandated risk reduction measures at Lake Hodges Dam?
No, we're required to do those risk reduction measures. And that is what these dam services contracts will help us design for.
And if we don't, what's the consequence of saying that, no, we're not going to do that?
The regulator has different options at their play. I mean, they've been wanting this. This is the only unsatisfactory dam in their entire portfolio. They can go all the way up to and including telling us to empty the entire reservoir.
And emptying the entire reservoir could result in some of the very fire risks that we're hearing nearby residents express concerns about.
It has, so I think we want to separate the entire issue in regards to fire risk in regards to the level of the reservoir. As it is right now, we have the capability to pull from the reservoirs. And I can have Deputy Chief Brainerd, he is here from the fire department, and he can help add any information onto that. I do not believe that anything about the level of the dam impacts or increases that fire risk. But we can ask that question too. Would you like me to have him come up?
Well, yes, I think that's relevant. If a consequence of not performing the state mandated actions were to be that the city had to empty Lake Hodges, would that create an additional fire risk?
Good afternoon. Brent Brainerd, I'm here for Assistant Chief Eddy. At San Diego Fire Rescue, we take all matters of fire safety seriously. And we, all the way from the border all the way up to Lake Hodges, anywhere where there's any type of wildfire risk, we take very seriously.
So I guess the question is in regards to specifically, if the dam was eliminated, that removes one source of water in regards to pulling from. Is that correct?
Our helicopters, as far as, so any of the dams or anything we could pull from up to 2 feet of water. I just confirmed with my helicopter crew chief that's on duty today. Our crews can pull from everything from ponds to anything, and they need as little as 2 feet of water.
Okay, so I understand how you're hearing the question, but let me restate the question in a different way. We're talking about approving these contracts, and I'm asking about the consequence of not approving them. And you're saying that one of the consequences of not approving the contracts could be that, and not conducting the state mandated actions on Lake Hodges Dam could be that the state could order Lake Hodges to be drained. And my question is, if we were to drain Lake Hodges and leave that landscape, is that not fire fuel that would be dangerous? Maybe it's not, but that's my question.
If anywhere where there's a urban interface or any type of wildfire brush or anything like that, we're going to treat it exactly the same, and we'll aggressively attack with all of our partner agencies throughout San Diego County. We'll have a joint unified response.
But I think in regards to your comment, in regards to if we're trying to address as it relates to fire safety, obviously also dams are also used as fire breaks too. And so if there's no water in there, that is going to have a problem in regards to fire. As it is right now, whether or not it's 280 versus 295, those are different conversations. But if you have nothing there, there's no dead pull, there's nothing there, that's going to have impacts in regards to fire safety, yes. It is, but that is why these dam services contracts are so important, because if we're trying to at least maintain what we have right now, then we want to do these contracts.
Okay, thank you. That concludes my questions.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Whitburn. We'll go next to Councilmember Campbell.
I thank you very much for the presentation. I think it's very important that we approve this, especially as it's mandated by the state. I wish that the state would pay for whatever it mandates, but it doesn't. And so I will move the staff's recommendation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Campbell. So we do have a motion to move the staff recommendation. We'll go next to Councilmember Von Wilpert.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation today on our dams program, and thank you for answering all the questions. I also want to thank Rhonda and Friends of Lake Hodges and everybody for being here. Thank you for coming down today and for being engaged with the whole process. My incredible policy advisor, AJ Baker, has been wonderful in making sure that the community is involved in this discussion, because as you said, when the lake water diminishes, that leads to an explosion in a growth of brush. You know, when I was a kid and you drove on the 15 freeway up to the North County Fair, that's what I still call it, you could see water on both sides of the 15 freeway. And that's what we grew up with and we were used to with Lake Hodges. I understand this dam was built before women had the right to vote in this country. I do understand how old this dam is. At the same time, we are now aware that this is the most failing dam in the state of California. And so we have to do something about this. My first question is, where is the County Water Authority? Are they paying for any of this $75 million over 10 years? Are they going to be contributing to the repair of Lake Hodges, because this is half their asset?
So two different things. So if we're looking at any project that is for maintenance activities, it is our belief at Lake Hodges. So remember, the $75 million for each of these contracts is for all of our entire dam portfolio. If it is associated with Hodges, they do have a cost share measure. They are responsible for 50% of the cost. They have, as a reminder though, they have told us if it's the full replacement, they do not believe that they are required to pay for that. And that is different than our understanding.
Okay, well, we'll get to the replacement in a second, but in terms of this item today to approve, our ratepayers will be paying for this.
Our ratepayers plus, so in this specifically for this $75 million for these two contracts, if the work is for Lake Hodges, like we're talking about the risk reduction measures, they would be paying their 50% of that, yes.
Okay, and the County Water Authority has agreed to do this? Or are they protesting this, or?
It is not our understanding that they would be protesting that. They would only be protesting the full replacement is our understanding.
Okay, I'll get to the full replacement in a second, but in terms of the current state of the dam right now, the city has been doing repairs on Lake Hodges because we've been ordered to. So has the County Water Authority paid their fair share of those repairs?
Yes.
And how much have they paid?
I would have to get back to you in regards to that one. I'd have to get back to you. But they have been paying their 50% of all of ours.
Okay. I would love to know how much they have been contributing going forward. So if they're paying half of the bill and we are currently being ordered to do mandated repairs by the State Department of Dam Safety, why is it taking so long? We were supposed to get back the options from the geotechnical scientists this summer. Now it's pushed back to December of 2026? Is that correct?
Yes, we are expecting it by December of 2026, yes.
But we were expecting it this summer.
Yeah, Kelly, if you want to add anything in regards to, Kelly or Tiffany, if you want to add anything in regards to the timeline. Yeah, thank you.
So there's a number of technical analyses that we must complete to come to a recommendation for an alternative to full dam replacement for Hodges. And those technical analyses take some time. So we do expect that we're going to need more time. So the end of the year is when we expect to have a recommendation on what we're doing with Hodges in the long term.
Okay, have we hired an outside contractor to do this recommendation for us?
Yes, we currently have GEI doing the alternatives analysis for us.
Oh, so then I'd like an explanation from them also why this is taking so long. Are they not working on it? Do they have other projects? I mean, this is the highest rated failure safety dam in the state of California.
And they have been working on it in regards to, so some of the issues is that, so every time that we have to do anything in regards to Hodges, we want to make sure we're doing our entirely due diligence. The status, one of the assessments that they do is on the concrete itself. Can it withstand whatever recommendations that we're doing? So then there's different modeling on that. I think the expectation is that we went with a shorter timeline because we were trying to push through, and then each thing we're trying to identify does take us a little bit longer, and we want to make sure we've done all of our due diligence, so that way when we get into design and construction, we don't identify things that push that timeline around.
Okay, got it. I have a request for next time we hear a dams update at ATI or anything. Can we bring an engineer as well? We're paying them. They should be here answering our questions about what's going on with the dam. I was also asking a lot of questions about how we're communicating with our residents at the committee because the increased fire risk is real. Chief Eddie, who I know can't be here today, actually lives in the community. And we received over $1 million grant from the state of California from Assemblymember Darshana Patel's office because the increased fire threat because of the brush growth when the water went down has exponentially increased fire concern in a community that already lost their homes. I mean, this is not a theoretical concern. This was where the Witch Creek fire went through. And so you're hearing from people who've watched their homes burn before. And so my question is, if the Department of Dam Safety is not going to allow us to raise the water level, which would then flood some of the brush, what is our plan going to be going forward? I know we have the $1 million grant this year to do extensive brush management and get some of the unnative plants out of the area, but what about next year or the year after? And so, Deputy Chief, I know you just had to fill in today since Chief Eddie is not available, but my question for the fire department is going forward, can we have more involved conversations with the community about what to do about this increased brush management issues?
Yes, we could do that. I can get in touch with Chief Tosca to talk about the brush management area, and we can get back to you.
Okay, thank you. And I know that we're currently waiting on our second wildfire helicopter to get a new part in, which takes an abominably long amount of time. But are we able to get the Firehawk up there, Copter 3, if we need to Lake Hodges at this point?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Copter 3 is in service. Copter 3 is in service today.
Okay, got it. And then CAL FIRE is able to bring fixed wing in on a more regular basis. I mean, we are much more prepared than we were in 2007, correct?
Absolutely. Our interagency.
I'll take 3 more minutes, please. Mm-hmm.
Our coordination between CAL FIRE, all of our partners, between Escondido, Rancho Santa Fe, and all the surrounding jurisdictions, it has never been better right now. CAL FIRE, if I were to, as the incident commander, were called for a fixed wing air package, we could bring it in. I could keep bringing in as many resources as necessary to mitigate any incident as possible that we face.
Okay. And CAL FIRE, their planes can dip in Lake Hodges too, correct?
I don't have it, I'm not aware of any capabilities with that.
Got it.
I can find out for you and we can get back to you.
Okay, thank you. I think we need to have a better conversation with the community members about this because it is alarming to see the exponential growth in brush, which is a result of the lake lowering. So thank you. And thank you for filling in for Chief Eddie. I appreciate you being here today. So I have one more question about communication with our office and our residents. I've been asking for the city and the Department of Dam Safety to have a meaningful conversation about whether we can raise the water level. Because we now know that we're not going to be able to replace this dam as quickly as we wanted to because the County Water Authority has unilaterally decided they do not have to share the cost anymore. One, I hope we're getting a legal opinion on that. Okay. All right, thank you. We should be getting a legal opinion on that. Second, our constituents have been rightly asking what we're going to do about this in the meantime. And so I wrote a letter last July to the Secretary of the California Natural Resources Agency, Secretary Crawford, asking for DSOD to work with CAL FIRE to determine if the risk of the dam breaking is greater at this point to life and safety of the risk of a wildfire resulting because of the lower water levels. And nobody has answered my question. I have asked our state assembly members, our state senators. And then this morning, we received an email that my office was not included on from a gentleman who is the Public Affairs, California Department of Water Resources Public Affairs Office, Jason Ince, in which he has been explaining to constituents that this dam is so dangerous that not only are we required to lower the water level because of a seismic event, because of an earthquake, but in 2023, it was discovered that the concrete deterioration has progressed to such a state that the Department of Dam Safety has determined that the dam to be in unacceptable condition that could lead to failure under normal or static conditions, meaning right now the dam could fail. And Councilmember Campillo's office was CC'd on this email, but my office was not. And so I'm just asking, I have been begging this department to give communication to me and my residents who come all the way down here. And why can I not simply be CC'd on an email? We're very frustrated.
Juan Guerrero, Public Utilities Director. Councilmember Von Wilpert, I just want to apologize to you for not including you on those conversations earlier. It was a request from D7, and we're being responsive and meeting with that constituent. They followed up a few times, and then DWR got back to them about 2 weeks ago, and we just got that to you today. So I think it's a helpful reminder that if there are inquiries that come from other council districts, that we include the council district where the concern is located. In this case, Hodges. We'll make sure to keep you updated on any communications related to Hodges moving forward. Apologies.
Thank you. I appreciate that commitment. I am also wondering when we're going to have a newly updated Hodges and Reservoir Dam frequently asked questions. Given this new information, the Department of Dam Safety thinks this dam is so unsafe that at any moment it could experience a structural collapse, that we can't raise the water level. If that is the case, and he put it in writing here, when are we going to update it on our own website?
I'll have Allie Brenter, Deputy Director of External Affairs, answer that.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember. That FAQ is in the process of being completely updated, and we'll ensure that update is finalized with DSOD's perspective as well, and it should be uploaded to our website within the near future.
Will you let us know when that's done, please?
Of course.
Okay. And I want to thank the residents who have been consistently arguing this point and articulating this point, because you were able to get answers quicker than sometimes we get to, unfortunately, here at the city. So, okay, well, I appreciate the commitment to getting better communication with our office. My last question is, I agree with Rhonda's recommendation that since this is the worst dam in the whole state of California, why are we not putting all the pressure on this dam? If we're going to approve this $150 million for all the dams in San Diego, Lake Hodges needs the most attention. So why can't we focus on this one first?
So I'll go back in regards to that. The most important thing is making sure, because we've lost 50% of the person who's going to fund it, we got estimates. We were originally looking at $275 million to replace this dam. The estimates now are between $500 and $700 million. And that would mean the city would be responsible. We lost 50% of our funding for that. So that increases the liability and the cost to actually do the work on the City of San Diego residents. And so we're trying to right now identify all options available to us in regards to what is the best use of all ratepayer funds, because we do not have unlimited funds. Our existing rate, right now, we don't even have the rates to do that replacement right now. So that would also require future increased rates. And so we want to make sure and come back and make sure we've identified that option that gets us, addresses the concerns in regards to the safety of that dam, but also looks at the affordability that we're looking at. And that's why we chose to do that risk alternatives analysis and coming back with also interim risk reduction measures.
Okay, which I appreciate. My question, I guess, still is, are we going to direct most of these resources immediately to Lake Hodges?
Hodges is the #1 priority, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Well, thank you for answering the questions. Thank you for the commitment to communicate better with us going forward. We work well with our state partners. That's how we got the $1 million with Assemblymember Patel, is because when constituents come to us, we can ask, but if we don't get this information, I can't act on it. So given the commitments that you will work with our communities better and get us more answers, and we will be focusing the efforts immediately on Lake Hodges if we approve this today, I will vote to approve the item, but we will continue to follow up to make sure that these commitments are actually followed through so the community can feel safer and that we all can be more aware of what we're going to do with this very precious resource that we've all counted on for a long time. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Von Wilpert. I think you said you would vote to approve it. You didn't actually second it, though. Okay. I'll jump in there and second it. And before I go to Councilmember Foster, offer a few thoughts because I want to clarify some of the things that we've been talking about. One, thank you for coming down and taking the time to testify. There isn't anything more scary than the possibility of changes that could potentially threaten your homes. I'm old enough to remember when living next to open space and wildlands actually was an asset, given, as many people describe, the changes in our environment, and the risk of wildfire has certainly turned people's attention in a different direction. Most of my district, District 1, used to enjoy the quality of life by being separated by major pieces of open space. And what do they face today? Difficulty getting insurance. The state introducing Zone 0, which is going to require everybody, almost everybody in the city, to actually clear everything within 5 feet. Circumstances have changed, and sadly it takes dramatic incidents to actually force us to change. And I do want to emphasize the world changed with the Oroville Dam and changed Division of Dam Safety and how they looked at things for better or for worse. So I appreciate the pivot. As Councilmember Von Wilpert and the public mentioned, I am a civil engineer, so I paid a little bit extra attention. And I want to remind that we did do upwards $10 million worth of repairs at Lake Hodges, pretty extraordinary, innovative approaches to try to stabilize the dam. And I can remember we actually began a pace to actually start thinking about a new dam there. I don't know how far we got, but we certainly got slammed when the County Water Authority said, yeah, we don't care about the hydroelectric capacity there. We don't care about the water storage there. We're not interested in being your 50% partner. And that changed the landscape. I want to reemphasize a question I think Councilmember Von Wilpert raised, but there's nothing in the action today that actually precludes what we might do at Lake Hodges. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure that we weren't doing anything in that regards. And I also don't want to forget about the larger picture that we're talking about that we first heard at Environment Committee, where the city, again, given the 2021 action, actually took a look at the entirety of our system of water storage which is our water storage. It doesn't belong to the County Water Authority, it's ours. And it does, typically we talk about it as 10% of our water supply, maybe even the rainy months it actually is upwards, you said 30%. And more importantly, it costs $400 an acre foot as opposed to $2,600. And anybody who thinks about privatizing, the most expensive water in San Diego County is a private desalinization plant. So I'm not interested in going in that direction. But everything that we need to do to make sure that that local water continues to function in a very efficient manner and helps keep the rates down. So I appreciate that even though this is a 10-year contract that you're asking, that you will come back to us yearly and let us know the progress. Clearly, after GEI completes its assessment of Lake Hodges and the options, coming back to ATI or Environment Committee, whatever makes sense best. I do feel inclined, because I've heard it more than once, about Choyas Lake. It's not part of our water storage, not part of our system there. It is a dam. All dams always have that risk of breaking. It's not PUDs, I assume, it's Park and Rec?
Yes, that is correct, but we are in coordination because we do kind of have the expertise in regards to doing the condition assessments. We are coordinating with Park and Rec to give them the information. It is a satisfactory dam at this point in time, which is within DSOD's, that's their highest rating. But we do have it identified and preparing the information that is needed so that way any future actions can be done. But that would be at the expense of from the general fund.
Okay. I don't want to put any undue pressure in one of our colleagues, but we do have 10 members of the County Water Authority Board of Directors there. I think it's a pretty big lift to convince the other directors to pony up that kind of dollars where they may not see the benefit to the County Water Authority's entire vision of an area of responsibility. So I don't really hold much hope there, no matter what the City 10 are able to do at the board level going forward. But again, I also don't want to lose the incredible pivot that PUD went through in the past 5 years going forward. You responded to when Division of Dam Safety said new rules are in place. You jumped on every requirement, and then when County Water Authority said, again, slammed the door on us, that you pivoted again. And that's an extraordinary amount of work of something that is not part of our day-to-day work. So it's very much appreciated. I appreciate Mr. McFadden being here and participating in this as the Chief of Infrastructure Services, I think. So with that, I'll close my comments. My colleagues have some comments as well, but I will second the motion. So we do have a motion by Councilmember Campbell and a second by Council President LaCava to second the motion on the floor. And with that, we'll go next to Councilmember Foster.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. And we did hear this previously. I did and continue to have some concerns. But listening to the conversation today, we have this action that's before us today. But you mentioned there's another contract that we have, programmatic contract, where they're doing analysis to look at options and how we are going to approach the very dam we are discussing. With that work that is still outstanding or work that's being done, can you help me to understand why we are taking this action today?
Absolutely, and it's a great question in regards to that. We do have regulatory deadlines that we must address right now. We cannot wait to have every analysis that the team went through to have that all done before we move. We have definitely some priorities, just like Hodges, Barrett, Otay, Murray Dam. We have other commitments and other requirements that are due. And so we need to move forward in having that design work and keep maintaining that as we continue in a parallel path on the entire overall programmatic analysis.
And so do we not have another contract or an existing contract? Did it expire? How are we taking care of these regulatory requirements prior to this item?
In regards to, so a lot of them didn't require, some of them didn't require design. We're moving into more major maintenance as it relates to design, that we will need design expertise on this. And then I'll have Kelly add anything else.
So we have contracts at Engineering and Capital Projects Department. So they issued 3 as-needed contracts to assist with some near-term repair projects and do design. Those contracts are nearing completion and capacity. So we no longer have the ability to issue work for new repair projects,
And
hence
how-
the need for these.
And how much were those contracts
I
that we
believe they
had
were
in place?
7.5 each.
Same concept? What's the capacity and timeline on these?
Yeah, so for each one, it was a 5-year duration. They were as needed, and they were each approximately $7 million, so $21 million total for all the as needed.
Okay, and then with this contract, what is the maximum, I guess, authority or capacity of a task order?
The task orders are not limited in dollar value.
I'm asking what what is the mayoral authority for a task order? Based on my comments at ATI, I had concerns on, commitments, right? How are you going to break down subcontracts and things like that, if I remember the conversation, right? They're to be determined later as we go through actual task order process. My question is, what is the mayor's authority? I'm trying to understand what we will see coming back and what we will not.
Within those $75 million, it is within the mayor's authority up to the $75 million within the term of the contract. But then coming back, we can come back each year in regards to our update.
Is that accurate? I believe there's a limit on each task order regarding
City attorneys.
council approval.
Bonnie Sue, Deputy City Attorney. There is no limit on tasks for as-needed consultant contracts.
So essentially, we're issuing $75 million of capacity to the mayor, and not one item will come back to us in the 10-year process for additional authority. Is that what I'm understanding?
Bonnie, could you clarify if task orders are capital funded, if that would trigger an additional approval?
There is no cap on tasks for as-needed consultant contracts. There's no limit within the municipal code for this type of contract.
Okay. They're talking. I'm waiting to see if they're going to add something.
Councilmember, I would just offer that we couldn't issue a task today to the tune of $75 million because that is not what's included in the rates that you all approved this past fall. That's also not included in our 5-year or our budget, the full amount in year 1. So that's where we noted that every opportunity, that we will be coming back for every annual dam safety update with an update on this program, but also in every 5-year outlook, every budget, and every rate case we have moving forward, there will be additional information on the planned spend for these contracts included within our dam safety program line items.
Is purchasing and contracting on the call? I just want to make sure I understand this. I didn't realize that consulted contracts did not come with a limit attached to the task orders.
Yes, PNC is online.
Yeah, good afternoon, Councilmember Foster. That is correct. Currently, as we look at municipal code, there are no limits for task orders under as-needed contracts.
Okay, so how much do we have budgeted for this cycle? What's the budget impact or any rate? I'm assuming what we have is included in the rates, and we're not going, what I just heard, we're not going to go over that.
Correct.
Right.
The amount is currently within this fiscal year as identified in our rate case and also with our 5-year.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Foster, for your questions. We'll go next to Council President Pro Tem Lee.
Thank you, Council President. We had a pretty extensive discussion of this in ATI, so I think for me, just summarizing and recapping it quickly is perhaps helpful. I think everyone in the room understands the significant need for many of our dams, especially for Lake Hodges. We Already, as the council had initiated funding for the study of the conditions of the dams, and then the next step, frankly, is to have this contract in place to allow for funding to ensure that the design phase for any future projects can occur, and I know this is under a 10-year period. I feel comfortable with the budget authority piece being where the council's going to have some ability annually in terms of determining what's actually implemented within the budget or authorized within the budget for projects, and so that it's not all just going to be spent. But I presume that without this, we wouldn't be able to address any of the identified potential repairs, replacement, water levels as have been requested by the Department of Safety of Dams.
That is correct. I mean, we have already identified projects right now at Lower Otay, at Murray, at Barrett, risk reduction measures at Hodges. All of those wouldn't be able to be completed without these contracts.
Thank you. Well, with that, Council President, I'm happy to support the item and look forward to the work continuing.
All right, thank you, Council President Pro Tem Lee. I don't see anyone else in the lights. Let me ask one last question. This is just design. So when you identify construction contracts, those will come back because I suspect they will be quite sizable.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to double check up on that. Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Campbell and a second by myself to move the staff recommendation. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sorry, the voting system, please cast your vote. That passes unanimously. Sorry, that does not pass unanimously. That passes 7-1 with Councilmember Foster voting no and Councilmember Campillo absent. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you to my council colleagues for all the questions and comments. Thank you to the good folks at PUD for putting this together and answering all the questions. And of course, the gentleman from Fire Rescue for showing up as well. So with that, clerk, please introduce item 203.
Item 203 is the naming of an existing alley in the Cabrillo Heights neighborhood within the Serra Mesa Community Plan Area, Itai Way, PRJ-1130-276. If you'd like to speak to this item, please be sure to submit your speaker slip to the front of the room into the clear box. And if you are participating remotely, now's the time to raise your hand by pressing *9 or the raise your hand icon. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you. I see staff is settling in. Please introduce yourselves for the record and let us know how much time you need for your presentation.
Good afternoon, Council President LaCava and council members. My name is Daniel Neri, Development Project Manager with Development Services. And joining me today is Senior Land Surveyor Greg Jeffries and Land Surveyor Assistant Michael Bocut. I will need approximately 3 minutes for today's presentation.
All right, begin when you're ready.
Okay. Item number 203 on today's docket is project number PRJ 1130276 for the naming of an existing alley in the Cabrillo Heights neighborhood within the Serra Mesa Community Plan Area, Itai Way. The item before you today proposes the naming of an existing unnamed public right-of-way alley to Itai Way. This street name change was brought forth by petition from all affected property owners and tenants fronting the subject property in accordance with San Diego Municipal Code 1251120B. Although the municipal code allows for a process one decision for petitions containing signatures indicating 100% support, the item before you requires a process 5 decision by City Council because the circulated petition received less than 100% support. A recommendation from the Planning Commission is not required for this action per the San Diego Municipal Code. The naming was determined to be categorically exempt from the California Environmental Equality Act pursuant to CEQA sections 15301 for existing facilities and section 15311 for accessory structures. The project is within the Serra Mesa Community Plan Area of Council District 7, and the site lies between Larkdale Avenue and Makawa Avenue within the RM11 and RS17 zones. The Cabrillo Heights neighborhood lies east of Interstate 805 west of Interstate 15, and approximately 0.6 miles south of Montgomery Gibbs Airport. The existing 26-foot wide and 0.4-mile long alley was established per map number 3003 of the Rancho Cabrillo subdivision in 1960. Known today as the Cabrillo Heights neighborhood, the alley serves as a divide between the multi-dwelling unit residential RM11 zone to the north, shown here in taupe, and the single-dwelling unit RS17 zone to the south, shown here in yellow. The development pattern of the Cabrillo Heights neighborhood is characterized by multifamily U.S. military housing to the north along Larkdale Avenue and single-family residences to the south along Makawa Avenue. In accordance with the street name change regulations under the San Diego Municipal Code, the applicant identified 85 property owners or tenants with either property abutting the alley or a property within an address on the affected segment of the subject right-of-way. The petition was circulated via door-to-door canvassing, resulting in 25 signatures in favor, which equates to 29% in support and exceeds the 25% minimum threshold required by the code. It's important to note here that addresses without signatures were non-responsive. And should today's action be approved, all fronting properties will have the option to submit an address change request per Information Bulletin 185. In accordance with San Diego Municipal Code Section 1251120C, staff determined that the project does not adversely affect the multi-agency computer-aided dispatch service for police, fire, and paramedic vehicles, or the policies and procedures of the United States Postal Service, as Itai Way is not currently an assigned street name in the city. On March 20th, 2025, the Serra Mesa Community Planning Group voted 601 in support of a recommendation to approve the naming of the alley to Itai Way, citing enhanced safety, navigation, property addressing, and community identity as a reason for their support. In consideration of the staff report and supporting materials, staff recommends that City Council adopt a resolution for the CEQA exemption pursuant to CEQA Section 15301 and 15311. Staff further recommends that the Council adopt a resolution approving street name change PMT 3349350. This concludes staff's presentation, and staff and the lead applicants are here to answer any questions.
All right, thank you for the presentation. Clerk, please proceed with public comment.
We have a few speakers here. Gilad Deckner, if you can please come up to the microphone. And if I can have the following individuals please come up to the yellow reserve seats at the front. Isaac Deckner, Aviv Deckner, and Ruham Deckner. You'll have 2 minutes each. Please proceed. Or if you'd like to all speak together, that's fine too. Would you like to all speak together? As an organized presentation? All right.
We came here to show support. We do live on that alley. The biggest issue right now is boat delivery, emergency services. Because it's such a distinct situation, the houses that are facing the alley are very difficult to find. So we'll see UPS drivers driving around. I know from a neighbor that somebody called emergency ambulance and they came to the house facing the street and were unable to find the house that they were called to in the alley. So we are here to show support and hope to get that approved from you.
Thank you. Does that conclude your comments? Yes. Appreciate you being here. We'll go to those participating remotely, starting the 5-minute timer. There's actually nobody. Oh. Nope, nobody in the virtual queue. That concludes public comment on this item.
Okay, thanks, City Clerk.
You may take a seat.
Thank you for taking the time and sitting through this afternoon's conversations. This is in District 7. We would normally go to the District 7 council member for guidance and geographic courtesy. He is not here, so we'll go first to Council Member Von Wilpert.
Thank you. Yes, since Councilmember Campillo is up on paternity leave with his new baby, I'm happy to make the motion to approve recommendation to change the alleyway's name.
Okay, we have Councilmember Von Wilpert moving the recommendation, and we go next to Councilmember Campbell.
I'm happy to second the motion.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Campbell to second the motion, a staff recommendation on here. I don't see anybody else in the lights. I've got a couple of questions. This is a request by private property owners or residents. Who's going to pay for the new signs?
Thank you. This conversation was held with the Transportation Department, and on August 7th of this past year, we received confirmation from Senior Traffic Engineer Gary Pence in the Transportation Department that once approved by council, this would become a named alley like the rest of the city, and there is no charge for the street sign installation to the applicants. That Transportation will issue work orders to the streets divisions for the signs, and it will be funded from the general fund.
Okay, I have to admit I have a little heartburn, even though it's like $3,500 going forward, given the very long needs list that we have. The city didn't identify this as a problem or something to be solved, and so I have a little bit of heartburn about doing that, especially with the military housing benefited from this. Apparently, the military didn't offer to jump in on this conversation. I appreciate the comment about emergency response. I don't want anybody to think that an ADU or a house in the back of a property that fronts on a street and has an alley behind it is dangerous. I don't know why a 911 call wouldn't have identified where the problem was going forward, but I don't want anybody to think that is dangerous. But I do have, in these terrible, terrible budget conversations that we're having, even $3,500 is kind of a big deal. Going forward. So I wish the 29 people that, or the 25 people that had signed it would have been willing to pay up for that sign to their mutual benefit. So, but I just wanted to clear that up and bring that to everybody's attention. So seeing nobody else on the lights, we have a motion by Councilmember Von Wilpert and a second by Councilmember Campbell to move the staff recommendation.
Sorry, the voting system, please cast your vote. That passes unanimously, 8-0, with Councilmember Campillo absent. Thank you, Council President.
All right, congratulations on getting this action, and look forward to a Muni Code change update to clarify some of those questions. With that, we will now take up non-agenda public comment. The council members respect and appreciate the public's input and are fully committed to protecting every participant's free speech rights at council and committee meetings. Clerk, please proceed with public comment.
Thank you. Per Rule 2.7, non-agenda public comment is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items that are not on the agenda, but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Each speaker will have 2 minutes. Please note if there are 8 or more speakers on a single topic, the maximum time for the topic will be 16 minutes. If you're in chambers, please submit a speaker slip to the front of the room in the clear box. If you're participating remotely, now's the time to raise your hand by pressing *9 or the raise your hand icon. If I can have Christina Garibay Taylor, please come to the front, and then Anthony Ralphs, if you can also come to the yellow reserve seats. You'll have 2 minutes. Please proceed. If you can just speak into that microphone, though.
My timer?
That is your timer. We'll start when you speak.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cristina Garibay Taylor, and I am here representing residents from the 1000 block of Granger Street, 92154. Ms. Vivian Moreno is our district rep. Our council member. Just to give you some brief history, in 2022, my husband was in connection with Ms. Moreno to resurface the street we live in. Per the PCI, which is public record, our street hasn't been touched in over 30 years. I have pictures here. You know, this doesn't do justice. She's been there 3 years ago or so. We've been anxiously waiting for repair, and we're just continue waiting. So I was proactive this year, at the beginning of the year. I've emailed Mayor Todd Gloria 4 times, including Ms. Moreno, the Department of Transportation. I am just here representing my community. And my husband and I, as well as every resident, has paid and continues to pay taxes. So I think we need to make our voice heard, and we will do what it takes to make some noise and get everybody's attention. With that being said, let me see, hopefully I'm not missing anything in these 2 minutes. I would like to end with something from the mayor. 2026 State of the City Address. The voices of residents on the 1000 block of Granger Street and 1400 block of Eboy Avenue have gone unheard. Requests for resurfacing in our neighborhood has been ignored for decades, and then the mayor in his recent, and that means roads are smooth, sidewalks without trip hazard, street lights that work. Anyway,
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, and hopefully we can.
Thank you for that concluding comment. Anthony?
Hello, City Council. I wanted to start today by thanking Shawnee Rivera for the proposed empty homes tax, and I wanted to thank everybody else on the board that voted in favor of that, including Kent Lee, including Mr. Whitburn, I believe, as well, and Joe LaCava. And Raul Campillo, who is not here today. But I wanted to start by thanking y'all for pushing that legislation forward. That means a lot to the people of San Diego. That will go a long way in making housing affordable for everyone here in San Diego. So thank you very much for doing that. Part of the reason why I'm here today is because I wanted to talk about Flock, which has meant a lot to me and my safety or my feeling of lack of safety. And I wanted to talk about how everything from a human being down to the smallest electron changes its behavior when it knows that it's being observed. And this issue is, to me, a violation of the Fourth Amendment, and I'm very concerned that activists like myself will no longer feel comfortable and safe doing the work in trying to keep everyone in our town safe with the issues that we love when we find out about issues like Operation Road Flare, which just surfaced, which we now know is a project which ICE is engaged with along with the DHS in targeting activists, specifically Gene Wong and Arturo Gonzalez, who are both friends of mine. These documents were revealed in Gene Wong's court appearance down at the Superior Court a couple of weeks ago. And this is exactly what we were fearing a couple of months ago when we were having this discussion about Flock in these chambers, was that this technology could and would be utilized to begin going after activists. And so now I'm asking y'all to please reconsider your position on Flock, and please don't continue casting this mass surveillance dragnet on activists like myself and my friends. Thank you.
Thank you for that concluding comment. I'm starting the 5-minute timer going to those participating remotely. We currently have 8 speakers with their hands raised, starting with Terry Ann Skelly. Please unmute. After that will be Francine Maxwell. Terry Ann, please proceed.
Good afternoon, San Diego City Council. My name is Terry Ann Skelly. I'm a planning group member, a parent, and a public health educator. Last week, KPBS interviewed Rady's Children's Hospital pediatrician, Dr. Natalie Lobb, regarding the increase of 600 adolescents to its emergency room in 2025 because they needed treatment of some kind for their cannabis use. She said that, and I quote, prior to 2020, we were only seeing a handful of adolescents a year, maybe 20 or 30. Cannabis products are far more potent today than what previous generations were exposed to, end quote. PBS interviewed Dr. Lobb in response to the new research published in the Journal of American Medical Association regarding cannabis use with increased risk for serious mental health conditions. The strongest associations the study found was for psychotic and bipolar disorders, where the risk was about doubled. And importantly, teens reported on their cannabis use about 1 to 2 years before their mental health diagnosis. Again, Dr. Laub is quoted, and I quote, "We see this public health crisis emerging in children and young adults with early initiation of cannabis use," end quote. I think we as residents of San Diego need to ask ourselves what this early use marijuana means for the long-term well-being of our younger residents and the many who care about them, and take responsibility for reducing visibility and promotions that come with selling marijuana here in our city. Thank you for hearing me this afternoon.
Thank you. Next is Francine Maxwell. If you can please unmute. After that is Madison.
Francine Maxwell, Southeastern San Diego resident. I think I heard from the diocese today that we want the community to feel safer. And so this council should be asking why they're not getting more updates from the CPP. We are extremely excited to have an executive director, but you haven't shared with the community why we don't have our attorney. We have been in meet and confer for almost 3 years. So that also erodes the trust. We completely understand that we will be in meet and confer for a while, but again, any opportunity to share information with the community on where we are, because the CPP does not have their own attorney, and that's what we voted for. And so again, we want to build trust, and not having an attorney doesn't do that. But what could build trust and what should open up the communication with the council along with the community is that Post is in town March 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And some of our San Diego PD may be in those particular conversations and in those presentations. And so we need to be educated and make sure that if people have the time, can go on March 3rd, 4th, and 5th down to the Post meeting, which is going to be down at Caltrans. Very important opportunity to find out about other officers that may help educate people and get them to file more complaints against some of our officers so that we can change some of the training. Love the direction that we're going in for training, but sometimes training is just not enough. There's an undergird, and there's a lot of private conversations, there's a lot of backdoor conversations going on, but you're not holding a hearing with the constituents, and you're not holding town halls on public safety. So again, let's dive in and let's build trust and have hard conversations in safe places.
Madison, if you can please unmute. After that is Andrea Ebbing. Madison, please unmute.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, City Council members. I'm here this afternoon as a community member concerned about an issue affecting young people in San Diego, which is the rise in use of inhalants, including nitrous oxide products, commonly known as whippets. These products are inexpensive, widely available, and often perceived by teens as harmless because they're sold legally for culinary purposes. But when misused, inhaling nitrous oxide can deprive the brain of oxygen in seconds. That can lead to a loss of consciousness, seizures, traumatic falls, and in some cases, sudden death. Repeated use carries longer-term risks. Medical professionals have documented nerve damage, spinal cord injury, vitamin B12 depletion, cognitive impairment, depression, and psychosis, all linked to heavy nitrous oxide exposure. Because it acts so quickly on the brain, it can also be psychologically reinforcing for adolescents whose brains are still developing. What makes this especially concerning is how accessible these products are. In many neighborhoods, they are sold in smoke shops alongside other intoxicating substances. We are normalizing retail environments that cluster mind-altering products together, and our youth are paying attention. As a city, we often talk about mental health and equity, and preventing youth access to harmful inhalants fits squarely within those goals. I encourage the council to examine enforcement, retailer education, and whether additional safeguards might be needed to limit youth access and reduce bulk sales that clearly signal misuse. Brain development continues into the mid-20s. The decisions we make about retail environments and public health protections matter. Thank you.
Thank you. The 5-minute timer did conclude during her comment. There are 8 people in the queue. No additional speakers will be taken after those 8. Next is Andrea Ebbing, and after that is phone number ending in 8700 and then 7499. Please proceed, Andrea.
This is Andrea Ebbing, and I am a mother of 3 beautiful girls who were all abducted from San Diego. They're in 2 separate states with 2 felony charged perpetrators of domestic violence with me as their named victim. So my daughters were ripped out of their home, away from each other, taken thousands of miles away from me and each other on a permanently suspended license by somebody who just had strangled me on video. My other ex, the one who paid for their shared attorney, whose name is Ben Embry, who is also an attorney in another case in which Summer Stephan protected and defended only her husband and perpetrator, who is a Rancho Santa Fe doctor. This woman was pushed to suicide. Her name is Alexander Von Tonder. She survived, but she was abandoned too. We are traumatized. And I know you get these emails, and I want to know, like, it is you people sitting up there did not take my children. You didn't sell my children. Judge Paula Rosenstein did. Summer Stephan did. Harold Oliver did. Eva Kiliaman did. Billy Driver did. Callie Temeskin did. Holland Tafoya did. Right? So, but when I'm reporting stuff like my ex's partner is an opioid dealer who had written 78,000 scripts in dead people and prisoners' names and had rehab patients and homeless people pick them up and distribute those drugs. And he only got 18 months for it after his 6th medical license revocation, as well as Prakash Bhatia, who's a psychiatrist that Summer Stephan used to commit Nancy Sussman, is also an opioid dealer. And then these people continue to get contracts. I'm begging you guys to hold these people accountable. I don't know if you have the power to do it, but I am begging you to hear my voice because we need each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is 8700. If you can please unmute. After that is 7499. 8700. There you go.
Thank you, Joyce Vignata, CD3. A couple of things before I make my point. President LaCava, thank you for what you said regarding the budget on that alley naming item. I really, really appreciated that. That was just such a little thing, but it was a great statement. Thank you. Now, I want to say this before I get to my main point. I'm probably going to run out of time, City Clerk, but anyway, so be it. San Diego County Water Authority, when are we going to wake up to them? Now, I'm going to research this later, but do they have a vested interest and are we legally obligated to do what they make us do with the 50%, or if it's a new thing, they don't pay for it or whatever? What are they doing? Are they putting ourselves, are they just, I don't get what's going on here. We have a great city attorney's office. Why don't they know legally what we're obligated to do with these people? And it's not, a blessing to the people. It's the systems that they work with, that they condone, that make me so angry. So I'll have to wait and speak later, but I'll say something briefly. I'll speak on that Colorado River crisis article probably tomorrow. But I just want to say that if you go before the water comes to the dams, that's at the San Vicente Reservoir, which is 15 miles northeast of the city. And then you go north in a canoe backwards. Look at that network. Start with the snow in the mountains and follow our water down. You won't believe what's happening. It's not nice. And we've got to do something about it. Thank you. Love to all.
Thank you. Next is 7499. If you can please unmute. After that is Becky Rapp.
Bob Kaczewski here. I've noticed that more and more city departments are using Constant Contact to send marketing email to citizens. So I did a search on Constant Contact abuses. Here's what an AI summary that I got back said. Quote, Constant Contact has been associated with various abuses, including credential phishing attacks, where threat actors compromised accounts to send malicious email. These incidents highlight the risks of using shared email marketing platforms, as compromised accounts can lead to widespread phishing attempts. Leveraging the platform's trusted reputation to deceive recipients, cybercriminals have also abused Constant Contact's infrastructure to create malicious links leading to credential theft, end quote. So why is the city using Constant Contact to communicate with citizens? For example, the city clerk's website has a button that says, quote, sign up for city council agenda and updates distribution list, quote. But that link goes to constantcontactpages.com. The city's Park and Recreation Department has a link titled, quote, sign up to receive meeting agendas, news, and updates. It also goes to constantcontact.com. Why can't this city send its own email messages to citizens without involving a third-party business? Similarly, why are the city council agenda archives maintained by Highland Cloud? If you go to the city clerk's website, City Clerk Official Docs, Docs Brown Act, you'll find that the current agenda in PDF format is there. It's beautiful. Thank you, City Clerk. But none of the archived agendas are there. Instead, there's a link to, quote, past agendas and minutes. And that link, of course, redirects to highlandcloud.com. Why is it that the city clerk can post the current agenda to the city's own website, but can't just leave it there as an archive? Why is the city paying private businesses to deliver public content? As we've learned from Torrey Pines Glide Report, the mixture of government monopoly and private greed is never good. Please stop selling your citizens to private businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Becky Rapp. If you can please unmute. Also, if you raise your hand after the 5-minute timer, we will not be able to take you today, but you can definitely email your comments in to cityclerk@sandiego.gov, and those will be distributed. Please proceed, Becky.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Council President and Council members. My name is Becky Rapp, and today I'd like to draw your attention to a major new brain imaging study published in JAMA by researchers at the University of Colorado. This was the largest MRI study ever conducted on marijuana and cognition, testing more than 1,000 young adults between the ages of 22 and 36. The findings are very concerning. Heavy marijuana use was associated with significantly reduced brain activity. 63% of users showed diminished neural response. The reduced activity was seen in parts of the brain responsible for executive control, attention, and emotional processing. These are the very areas we rely on for judgment, impulse control, and safe decision-making. Young adulthood is a critical time for brain development, and exposure to high-potency marijuana, which is being sold in our city's pot shops, has serious consequences. I urge this council to ensure that public education and prevention become a top priority. San Diego has an opportunity to lead with evidence-based studies. So I urge this council to consider, what will the future look like in San Diego if younger generations are suffering from preventable cognitive impairment? Thank you.
Thank you. Next is John Stump. If you can please unmute.
Thank you. To be quick, I want to talk to particularly the president of the council about the format and content of staff reports. The format and content of staff reports needs to be seriously reviewed to consider what's not in there. And what's not in there is the free lunches and hidden subsidy. The council president made a good point about the street sign and its cost. But of course, those costs didn't include the cost to install and the cost to have it on the agenda today. Hidden subsidies. Many organizations who do great things get a free lunch. They get support from the council for their lease or their activity, but the council never considers what it costs to maintain that facility or that activity. In the case, and I'll give you an example, the Lake Hodges thing is a clear example. One group says, we don't need Lake Hodges and we don't want to subsidize it. That's a sound decision. At the city, we have SeaWorld, which has a contract which provides for reimbursement of this to the city of the city's costs associated with SeaWorld activities. But the other venues operate, like the zoo, my favorite, and they don't reimburse the city for its cost. Just because they say we're going to bring in revenues really is not financial analysis. That's betting on a come. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Judy Strang, if you can please unmute.
Good afternoon, City Council. Thank you for this opportunity to share some thoughts I've had. We are planning our after-school program for mentoring and tutoring by teens for elementary school students. And as such, I receive a lot of information about research going on for teens and a lot of information regarding the challenges they face. And since I work with them every day, I get to see it firsthand. A previous speaker mentioned a research that's just come out and reported in the Journal of American Medical Association, and I'd like to tell you a little bit more about it because it gets to the heart of some of the questions that we've had regarding marijuana use and mental health issues, which causes what. This is a research using Kaiser Permanente Health System in Northern California. 460,000 teenagers were followed until they were 25 years old. They were asked about their marijuana use and then later if they had mental health issues. They were trying to understand what came first, so they did not include in the study anyone who was already showing signs of mental health issues. They just wanted to make the connection between cannabis use and mental health issues. So they found that there was a high number of teens who began cannabis use as young teens who later manifested mental health issues. And particularly the two they noticed were the psychotic disorders like schizophrenia, as well as bipolar. These two particular diseases are extremely expensive to treat and debilitating for everyone around them. I think it becomes ever more important for us to understand the role of marijuana in the role of our young people as they travel this journey to adulthood. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Barbara Gordon, if you can please unmute. Barbara, you are our final speaker.
Good afternoon. I am here today to urge you to address the alarming rise in tobacco pouches such as Zen and their impact on our youth. These products, marketed by the tobacco industry as tobacco-free, but they contain nicotine, are often perceived as harmless, particularly by younger people. Our high school and college campuses are littered with these pouches. The low risk of perception has led to the increase of experimentation and addiction among adolescents, jeopardizing their health and future. Nicotine pouches during adolescence can cause significant cognitive impairment and negatively affecting attention, learning, and impulse control. Furthermore, young people who use tobacco pouches are more likely to transition to traditional cigarettes, marijuana, and perpetuating the cycle of addiction and health risk. The flavored varieties of these products further entice youth, masking the harshness of tobacco, making it easier for them to start using. I am asking the City Council to consider a public service campaign or initiative to raise the awareness about the dangers of these tobacco pouches. By working together, we can foster a healthier environment for our youth, protecting them from the manipulative tactics of the tobacco industry, and ultimately reducing the prevalence of tobacco use in our community. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. That does conclude non-agenda public comment for this meeting.
All right, thank you, City Clerk. Does the City Attorney have anything to report out from closed session?
There is nothing to report out from closed session.
All right, thank you for confirming that. We will now adjourn council to the regularly scheduled council meeting on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026 at 10 a.m.